Mike's muted. How's it going, everybody? I am Kyle, and we are back with some Adventures of Middle-earth. I can't believe a week has already passed. We were just talking about it before stream, that it just seems like yesterday that we were playing. But we are back, and we are headlong into a fellowship phase, just about to undergo such a thing after what seems like, 15 streams since the last fellowship phase? Something crazy like that. But anyways, let's go ahead and introduce our cast of players, starting with Valinith.
Hello, everyone. I'm Forged, and I play the character Valinith. He is a high elf of Rivendell, and he has found himself misplaced in Middle-earth outside of the Mirkwood. Luckily, hopefully safe. But he's a scholar. He's a healer, and that's the things he does. He's pretty cool.
Awesome. And our next character is Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that tubby Australian. I play our dear young rider of Rohan, Theodric Grimborn. He is the youngest of the group, and he is happy to be kind of out of the Mirkwood.
Kind of?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're going back.
It's all an illusion. He's still there.
Let's hope not.
Did you see my notes?
I
No,
play
just
Theodric
kidding.
Grimborn. I play Theodric Grimborn, and he is very happy to be with his friends again.
Perfect. And now we have our new character, Jess.
Hello, I'm back. Yes, I am playing Jessamine Sackville Baggins. Very excited to be part of the crew, even though she's not officially part of the crew yet. Last week we learnt that she is a bit of a crystal girl and a wizard ? As for more, stay tuned.
Stay
Watch
tuned.
this space.
Exactly. I'm so excited to see her character unfold a little bit more on screen, so it's very exciting. And next and lastly, we have Feanor.
Definitely not least, we got Feanor, the luck to win, a Mirkwood butler. What was that? Slayer. I am an elf, and I defeated Savage Taller. Just no big deal. Last session, just like an endgame boss, really casually. Got away with a bunch of people too. And currently now seeking out his friends. He's finally out of danger yet again that he put himself in again. But hopefully he can find them fairly quickly and rejoin with those people that he cares about. And meet Jessamine.
Absolutely. And the secret ingredient, apparently, in Mirkwood are two things for Feanor. Nets and fire.
And fire.
100% success rate every time.
Yep.
some really good rolls. I love it. And
100% of the time works 60% of the time.
It's still pretty good chances. That's true. Like if you're like backed into a corner, you're just like, what do I do? Fire. Just start
Flaming
fire.
nets.
Oh, that's great.
And thus, the arsonist was born. Book would be proud of you.
Oh, geez. When no fireball exists in a D&D game, you just gotta have flaming nets.
I'm literally setting like my home on fire every time, and I don't even care.
As long as you can live to breathe another day. But I am Kyle. I am the lore master here at Fantasy Forge Studios, but also for Adventures of Middle-earth. And I am not only narrating the story that these adventures are playing with, but I'm also playing with and against them, trying to see how their tale unfolds and impacts the world of Middle-earth, the world that we all grow to love so much. But yes, so a lot has happened. Last session was actually a good amount of role play. And so there's not going to be as much of a recap today. Essentially, Feanor and his group of, elves, the surviving ones, that is, what was it? Taladir, Nornir, Caranthiel, Feanor, and four elves.
Then others.
Yes, and others. And four other elves were able to escape by setting fire to the Mirkwood and scaring away Savage Taller, not before he completely devoured and consumed Maeglin, and Calathir ran headfirst into the forest after well, Savage Taller. And yeah, it's not a good time for any of them. But a lot of the elves did die, and upon setting the Mirkwood on fire and making their escape, Feanor and the rest of the group of elves were able to make it to the forest gate, to where they found the note given, or basically laid out by Valineth, and perhaps promises were made about having them go visit Elrond, at least for a little while, in Rivendell, in order to find sanctuary and to find home. Back at the Easterly Inn, of course, being the lovely inn that has been set up very recently by a group of hobbits led by a hobbit by the name of Dodie, a very joyous, boisterous hobbit. And also visiting there, our new character, we have Jessamine Sackville Baggins, and she had traveled over and has been staying at the Easterly Inn for about a month, a little bit more. But his brother Dindy is about to go take the rest of the crew that are in the Easterly Inn back to the Shire in order to do a final restock. But right before that happened, the group of Valineth, Theodric, Baldur, and Belgo, along with Kalar, made their way in. Oh, and don't forget Rufus. Made their way into the Easterly Inn and acquainted themselves with Dodie and the rest of the individuals that were in the Easterly Inn, most importantly Jess, to where they discovered that, yes, she is a healer of sorts. She loves her crystals, and she loves to detail all about her family lineage, most especially Bilbo Baggins. Just kidding, not so much, but being a Sackville Baggins and all. But with that being the case, we're going to go ahead and focus everything in, starting actually back out with Feanor. And so Feanor and crew, you have made your way outside of Mirkwood, and you have spent a night of sleep. During this night of rest, the wounded elves, the rest of them, finally able to catch a breather after about another day and a half, 2 days of travel through Mirkwood, running from Savage Taller. You're able to finally get a bit of respite as you make camp in a kind of a hidden alcove of boulders. This is dangerously close to the area that you do remember your friend Dwarf Bori being taken, but you did check it out, and it is safe from all around. So you're able to pitch up camp for the night, which you don't have a ton of supplies on you, so whatever that entails, basically laying under the stars.
Stone soup.
Yeah, exactly. Stone soup. There you go. But you have spent a decent amount of time speaking and talking with the group of individuals that you are currently with. In particular, you notice that Taladir has been relatively quiet. You can tell that he's been dealing with something throughout his journey. Something definitely is on his mind that he's wrestling with, and that's pretty evident. Nornir has been probably the most social companion that you've had, as you have, both two of you, being probably the most healed of the group, have taken turns kind of keeping watch and also trying to hunt for food during your time. And alas, the remainder of the elves being patched up by Cranthiel. She has spoken some, but little. But it is amazing actually feeling breeze in your face. It is a summer night, beautiful summer night. But yeah, everything that you had just encountered, all the shadow, all the darkness within Mirkwood, your situation that you are in, everything seems to be looming and hanging kind of in the air as you are just outside of the eaves of the forest. And we're going to go ahead and hand the reins over to you, Feanor. So what do you want to be doing in this moment? So this is the first night that you are outside.
Probably, yeah. Like you said, it'd probably just be Feanor and Nornir, more or less, doing a lot of the extra work, trying to forage around for what they can, trying to just like kind of stay on guard, keeping an eye towards the Mirkwood, but also on the other directions around us. Probably seeing. what's going on. He's probably gonna go around and check on all the elves so far that have been healed, and kind of like assess how ready they are to move for the following day.
Make it in.
Is this? Yeah, yeah. An 8.
From what you can tell, Cranthiel has spent some time. Most of her healing supplies have been used up, but she did spend the evening gathering what she can just within the eaves of Mirkwood. She was able to come back with... Let me roll. She was able to come back with 2 sprigs of athelis, but she wasn't able to find much more. And so, with the elves that are remaining, they are relatively wounded. But they have been able, just time has been healing their wounds a little bit. But she's going to go ahead and spend those 2 athelis, healing 2 of the elves, 2 of the most hurt ones. Which, fortunately, right now, hurt is like 12 HP. So, the most hurt ones... The first one is going to heal 3 HP, and the second one is going to heal 2 HP. And so they're able to, get kind of healed up a little bit. But from what you can tell, they've been moving pretty good thus far. You don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to keep pace if you want to travel southward. However you want to do that. Which, again, that brings the question to you, Feanor. How do you want to travel? Do you want to travel within the eaves, or do you want to travel out in the open? These are questions that I'm assuming you and Nornir would talk about during kind of your time. So I'm going to leave that up to you.
Do the Wayward Elves have anything that they like wear or something that is distinct as being Wayward Elves?
The only thing that you can tell, and this is just from being with them over some time, is that their armor isn't quite as put together. It is pretty decent leatherworks, but you can tell that they're all come from their previous lives. And so, for example, Nornir, his outfit, his getup, looks pretty starkly different from the rest of the elves, as it is what he brought with him from his time as a hunter. And so he kind of has a little bit different coloration, where a lot of these elves, they have distinguishing features as they don't have a set uniform. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's not as put together. It's a little more cobbled.
Yes, yes, and
okay.
some of it's been probably stolen. So there are actually bits and pieces of armor and weapons and whatnot that perhaps maybe look dwarvish, or even human as well.
Okay. Probably while Nornir is at the camp, Feanor's probably going to go down and like near the gate, like closer to the gate, and see if he can see tracks for where the cart would have gone by.
Absolutely.
In the previous days, assuming that there probably hasn't been heaps of traffic. It's like he's trying to determine they went south. I already know kind of where I'm looking. Like see if he can actually find tracks or not.
Make a survival check for me. Survival or perception. I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, so I rolled a 7, so it would be checking what I rolled. So a 12.
12. You do see very clearly cart tracks, and they look pretty fresh. Probably about a day-ish old, from what you can tell. Maybe even half a day. You can tell that your companions have made it out of here just a little bit before making their way south.
Okay.
And they're very heavy, very clear tracks, as if this cart was moving. Yep.
Okay. Further inland, away from the Mirkwood, what is the path like? What's it like? Actually, is it just fields? Is it plains? Like, what?
Yeah, it's very, very flat up against the side up against the side of the Mirkwood, and it starts to get a little hillier the further you go out towards the Anduin. And so the northern part of Wilderland is hill country. As you start making your way up north towards the Grey Mountains and even towards the Misty Mountains, as you go further, and this is something that you would know, it becomes very, very flat. And so as you begin making your way south, when you do so, it's only going to get flatter, and there are going to be fewer and fewer places to actually hide.
Okay, so and it's the first night.
It's the
Basically,
first
what Fane was going to do is he is going to more or less get everyone to have their rest, their sleep during the night, the 4 hours that they need.
Mhm.
And he's going to probably go on. He's probably going to start his rest first, swap with Nornia, so Nornia can have 4 hours too.
Mhm.
But after everyone's awake, probably at like 4 in the morning,
Mhm.
he wants them to basically move more or less in the darkness in like the very early morning light, try and make as much distance as they can southward while being probably a little bit further than they currently are away from the woods.
Mhm.
So maybe over like the first couple hills, and cover as much distance as they can, and then camp in the middle of the day where they can find maybe in some glade or something outside the woods.
Mhm.
And then as it gets a little bit closer to the end of the day, probably like 4
Mhm.
of the sunlight going again, so avoiding the majority of the day where the most people are going to be around. Even if it's not many in this area, it's trying to use the cover of darkness to get as far as possible,
For sure,
as
for
quickly
sure.
as possible.
I'm gonna have you, as you do so, make a dexterity saving throw as you begin picking up the pace and moving as quickly as possible, and also this kind of includes as stealthily as possible too.
Cool. A 13.
13, and your company does so. The one thing that you have not been used to, especially being in this caravan, is what true stealth looks like. Being with your elven brethren, dwarves probably aren't so good as at this. Humans are fine, but the elves, they move like the wind. And this is something that actually, as you do so, as you begin to trudge forward, you feel very at home. This is kind of a strange phenomenon feeling traveling with only elves, but during this journey everyone is very silent, and you can tell that they're well practiced when it comes to tracking. Nornir has picked up on the tracks as well, and has even mentioned any other basically tracks that have joined, which from what he can tell there haven't been any other tracks. It seems like your companions were not beset upon by any creatures upon their basically journey southward.
Yeah, okay. During this time that is traveling, like during like the early mornings and the nights, Phanos probably going to try and like go to the tops of the hills,
Mhm.
like the closest hill that's like nearer the path, and look over it, while like laying down, probably even with his hood up, just very like to peer at it, to not let anyone see his silhouette on the skyline.
Make a
I
per.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just to see if he can like see if there's any people, if he can see anything.
Mhm. I'm gonna have you first make a stealth check for me.
Natural 20 for 24.
Oh, yeah, you blend in. Kind of like that scene in Lord of the Rings where Frodo and Sam fall down and they cover themselves with the cloak. Yeah, that's basically what you got going. You look like a rock. Um, Feanor the Rock. But as you scan, I'm gonna have you make a perception or survival check for me. One of the two.
A 9.
Okay. This is one of the new things that I'm going to start introducing, as AME actually gives a lot of option to the different checks. And so from here on out, if there's applicable stuff, I will let you know if there are different different checks to be making. But
Okay. Fair enough.
so with that 9, you're able to see out into kind of like the distance. You're not able to see as far as the Anduin, but as you look south, as it begins to get flatter and flatter, you do know, you take note that you have already crossed into what is the land of the Beornings, and your dangers currently at the moment aren't even necessarily orcs or bandits or anything like that, but more startling any Beornings on guard. They're very proud folk, from what you know. The woodmen have different feelings about them, as you remember from back in a woodman town. but they keep a very basically strong watch over their lands. And so anyone who has passed without permission, and permission is usually granted by either talking specifically to Beorn himself or by sending a word ahead of time that your group is traveling through, you look out and you see if there are any signs of Beornings. And fortunately, from what you can tell, you do not see any. In fact, you don't even see any animals that are out and about. It seems completely clear, basically save for a couple of birds here and there.
Okay, from this, Fane's probably going to tell that to like Nornia and Kranthiel and like the group, and ask them what they think. So in the area that we're in, we are now passed into the land of the Beornings, and they're not particularly fond of guests. I haven't had much trouble passing through here when I was living amongst the woodmen, but they have a different kind of friendship with the Beornings. There's an understanding. I believe that probably the Wayward Elves didn't have such an understanding. I want to know how you want to approach this. Do you want to telegraph our position so that they know we are not here on an assault? Or do you think we should attempt to remain? Nornie, what do you think?
He looks at you again, face completely covered still. It's actually amazing. Even when he's eating, he finds a way to be able to keep his face pretty covered. But he kind of stares at you, not blankly, but very contemplatively. And he takes a moment to respond.
Feanor does say, I have fought one once. They are terribly strong. It took like 15, 20 men to... I did get the final blow, but it took like 15, 20 men to bring him to his knees. Even then, he wasn't mortally wounded.
He looks concerned, and then he kind of says, Feanor, is that how all Beornings are? Or was that a warrior that you fought?
Look, I wouldn't want to risk it. I'm assuming that he was well known, so he might be a little bit better than the average, but I haven't run into very many of them. But they seem to carry a great respect amongst people and have a reputation for not dealing with trespassers very kindly.
You see, Feanor, I have had very little experience with the Beornings, as they are they're a relatively new society. You see, after the Battle of the Five Armies, when Beorn joined the battle, he won much respect, not only amongst those in the east, but especially those in Wilderland. He returned, and him and Gua here, King of the Eagles, well, they set about creating a pact to keep the lands of Wilderland safe. And that, my friend, is where the Beornings come. Many woodmen, the biggest and the strongest, needed to pass tests in order to become part of his people, in order to prove themselves that they could protect the lands of Wilderland. And thus it has been charged with each Beorning that is here that they need to have some kind of formidable skill in one way or another. I have not had the pleasure of dealing with such folk, as I've remained much of my time these past 5 years in Mirkwood. But, and he looks over, and you see Tailadier, and he has his hand gripped tightly on his spear, and he just kind of looks nervously. Tailadier, you have had different experiences, though. Friend, tell Feanor what you know of the Beornings. And Tailadier, first time you're hearing his voice in quite some time, but he says, there are fierce creatures. Creatures, no. And you can tell that he's desperately trying to make his vocabulary, as you've been talking about your experiences. You're actually during your journey, you've been opening his mind and his thoughts about the rest of the people. He's been spending so much time with Magellan that he's been so used to dealing with people a certain way. No, I've dealt with those people once. Kalathir and I, when we just joined the Wayward Elves, well, we were tracking orc intruders. They had made their way into the forest and out into Wilderland. Maeglin charged us with the ability to track them down and kill them. He said, we are not to besmirch our name by letting that filth wander freely into the lands of other peoples. And so, we did. We tracked that filth. Deep, all the way to the Anduin, in fact. We stumbled upon them. Oh, there was no breath left within them. A battle had been fought, and it was clear. On the banks of the Anduin. They were torn asunder. Barely anything recognizable left of them. The Beornings. I've never seen them in combat, and I've never seen one in person. But they are fierce warriors. And it makes me glad that I'm not an orc or a goblin. And he kind of has like a small like smirk on his face, but then he casts his eyes downward again. But either way, I think we should be cautious.
Yes. As I said, I've never particularly had to send word forward, but having made the distance we have, it might be necessary for us to have to move more on the path. If we can show that we're not sneaking through these lands and that we are visitors while moving at a pace, and that we can be approached and spoken to. Like I said, I faced a Bjorning once. Lovely man by the name of Gerald. But he seemed to be honorable and kind and wise despite his ferocity. So I have no doubt that if we encounter Bjornings and we tell them of our potential journey to meet Lord Elrond, I'm sure that they may offer some kind of concession. Maybe it might cost some sort of price, but they seem like a fair peoples. They've kept this land safe.
Fëanor, Caranthiel, she interrupts. Fëanor, do you think by sending word we would be able to, or at least make safe our path?
Potentially, it is, yes. I'm just not sure how we'll be able to meet up with whatever messenger. We don't really have a destination in mind at the moment. We cannot send word forth until we have met Valineth, because only then will we know if we're going to Imladris.
You see, the elf lights that I've learned, they have more than just the purpose of captivating, helping, people have sweet dreams. I'll show you what I mean. And she kind of, it's still pretty early morning, but she kneels down on the ground and she begins to, and a small elf light, orange light, begins to flicker. Not actually as vibrant as it did within Mirkwood, but it's small. And you wait for but a moment. I'm going to have you make a perception check for me, Fëanor.
19.
Oh, and with that 19, about a minute passes, but then you can hear something moving through the grass. It's something small, and it's moving in an almost hopping motion. Before long, you see what looks to be a great hare come into place. This thing is large, jackrabbit size, probably yay big. And it makes its way over to Caranthiel, and it begins kind of like looking at the light and like being captivated, and like its nose like kind of moving around, like sniffing, but nothing really much. And she bends down with the light still in front of the hare's face. She bends down and begins to whisper in the ear of this rabbit. To which she's gonna make an animal handling check. Oh yeah, she's good at this. and the rabbit and then she lets the elf light go out, and the rabbit immediately like looks around at the surroundings, not frightened, but it begins just taking off in a southward direction, bounding at a pretty fast pace. She stands up, kind of brushes herself off a little bit, and looks to you. This rabbit.
What exactly did you do?
Well, the elf lights. Not only do they allow us to draw in and captivate creatures, but for brief moments, we can reach an understanding with creatures of the forest. I sent our friend off down south. If it encounters anybody who can speak with its kind, rangers, shapeshifters, any of the kind, it'll pass word to hopefully reach the ears of Beorn himself, that we are just passing through as friends and only hunting what we need to survive. Hopefully this will work.
Yes. Hopefully it does. If we do encounter any Beornings, I think we leave the talking up to me. At the very least, I will be able to offer them a potentially familiar name. And if, by God, I encounter Gerald on this road, I did tell him that one day we would meet again. Potentially to fight, but like, you know, I feel like we became friends. We spent quite a few days getting drunk together after the festival.
You never cease to amaze me, Feanor, with all of the stories that you have of the outside world. Your experience in these past 5 years is quite different than mine or any of ours. I do look forward to hearing more of your stories in the future, but I do find that if we're going to catch your friends, they're moving at a good pace. We'd best be off. The sun's just beginning to rise.
Yes. All right. Nornia, take the front. I'll take the back. Taladir, follow up with me.
Aye.
Caranthiel, stay in the middle. If you see anyone lagging, let us know. We'll slow the pace.
And you begin to take off, following the tracks down south. I'm going to have you make a survival or an investigation check for me as you continue to follow them.
And 11.
11. You follow them pretty easily. Eventually, you get to a relatively flat part of land and it becomes a little bit more wooded. Not necessarily densely forested, but definitely wooded. And the tracks themselves seem to be kind of wearing down a little bit, as if the overbrush of basically the thickets and whatnot, the high grass, the tall grasses have begun to kind of consume them a little bit. But you're able to follow to a degree. That is, until you find a very oddly placed stone bridge.
Nornia, what do you make of it? This is like how is it odd? By the way, is it just like, is there no water around or anything?
There's a small stream that comes from the west that it does go over. However, the construction of it is rather odd. It looks new, and there's nothing else around it. Like no like buildings or infrastructure or anything. Just this random stone bridge.
Nornia, who do you think built that? And I'm like, Feanor's like scanning the surroundings, like looking, like other than the tracks that they have been following, of like stuff like in the woods in the surrounding area. Have there been trees that have been felled? Are there while the grass is overgrowing the path? Like, are there signs of other recent activity around?
Make a survival check, and as you do that, Nornir's going to investigate the bridge. And he looks at it closely. He puts his hand over the top of it, and it's pretty wide. It probably spans about 8 feet wide, and it has kind of like this little hump that it goes over. But it's very clear that there is dried mud that has made its way encrusted over the top of it. That look just wide enough to be wagon wheels. It seems that this your friends have stopped making their way southwards, and they started pursuing their way west for some reason. What was your survival check?
4.
for? Nothing that you can really tell. It seems pretty wild here. Like actually much more wild than it is even by the forest gate. So you kind of take a break from that and you make your way over, and Nornir, he points that out, but he says to you, I've never seen stonemasonry like this. I don't pride myself in stonework. It's probably more of a dwarf expertise, but I've never seen craftsmanship quite like this. It's almost as if each bit of stone was perfectly cut to fit. Immaculate. And he stands back and he has like this hand on his chin and he's just aghast at like seeing just how beautiful this bridge is.
Well, maybe if we find someone in the area we can ask, but I think we need to continue following the trail.
Over the bridge it is then?
Yes. I'll go first. You know, if someone challenges me on the bridge, maybe someone's sleeping under it, I don't know. Don't want to suddenly surprise someone. Who knows, perhaps it is the Bjornings themselves who made it, and Feanor's just going to walk over the bridge, like, very casual. Like, no guard isn't up or anything, he's just going to walk over it.
Everyone else's guard is up. If anything, Taylor's gripping his spear as hard as he can as he's just like looking around. This bridge is really freaking them out for some reason. But you cross over, nothing happens. You make it to the other side.
No weapons are drawn, nothing. He's like, well, it's a bridge. Come on, let's keep going.
After you. Okay, everybody, let's go. Let's make our way into...
What, you're gonna let an elf that's only, 101 years old show you up? It's a bridge.
There's a small chuckle coming from behind Nornir's mask, and you can tell that actually Caranthiel, she has a bright, like, wide smile on her face as she's the next one to casually stroll over. She puts her spear on her back and casually strolls over and joins you, and one by one they all do the same. You begin to follow this trail deeper into the light wood, and eventually you come upon what looks to be a secondary stream along with another stone bridge. However, on the opposite side of this bridge, you can see what looks to be a small child wearing a flower crown sitting inside a small meadow out in front of what looks to be a small inn, very cozy looking. But you and your host of elves immediately stop as Nornir, he kind of, everybody, stay out from sight, and the rest of them kind of vanish into the woods. Do you follow in suit?
He won't, but on the walk that is like leading to this up to this event, Feanor's gonna try and talk to Tality. You know, because we're at the back of this group. He's like, you know, making our way. He's gonna be like, Tality, how are you holding up? The last couple of days have been especially rough for everyone. But
Aye, indeed.
I feel like you're taking, like, this loss is taking a deeper hold on you. How are you faring?
Physically, I'm doing quite well, much better than my elven companions, but... Feanor, I know that you're well-traveled, and you... well, for lack of a better word, you were a prisoner up until just a few days ago. I just can't fathom why you're still here. Why you still care about us. We treated you terribly, and... to be honest, I guess it doesn't really matter. You can tell whoever you want at this point, but... I was growing tired of Maeglin as well. I'm a warrior.
My friend Theodric actually mentioned to me that you were kinder to him than most. There were small things. Yes, he was still a prisoner, but you weren't cruel. You were someone doing their job.
I would say... I wish I could say that I was being kind, I still viewed him as a prisoner, you see, and to be honest, if I even looked upon him today, I don't know what I would feel. My mind was more preoccupied than anything. I wanted to prove myself. Fëanor. Maeglin, what you saw of him, well, he was ruthless, but why I followed him? I knew what a warrior he was. I've spent my entire life training to fight the beasts of the forest, to fight back the shadow. It just seemed like in recent months, he cared less about my skill with a blade. It seemed like he just wanted to do everything by himself. Like all of us were just tagging along for the ride.
Believe me, I understand, and I do understand. The reason that I am here, there are two reasons. Firstly, Caranthiel views you as her family, so therefore you are my family. Not just kindred, but something deeper. Yes, the circumstances of our meeting weren't great, but you are important to her, so you are important to me. Secondly, I wasn't going to just... It felt wrong, even with you as my captor, to leave you to die at the hands of Savage Tola. I will admit I am not so upset by Maeglin's death, but I do understand from talking to all of you that a darkness had set upon him, that he had changed. He died nobly, in defense of his friends and kin. It is only because of his sacrifice that I am here right now. So I suppose I have inherited some of that responsibility, to try and make sure that you all make your way into a happier life. Taladir, I hope that when my time finally comes on this Middle Earth, that I die fighting back against the shadow. I don't want to die from sickness or from an accident. I want to die in glorious battle, with my companions at my side, and to be celebrated, not mourned, as I am gone. If what you value is to be a warrior, once your companions have settled, and once you have had time to recover, make your way to Dale. Tell King Bard that Fëanor the Loctwin has sent you. He is a noble man, but he is a man. He is a noble man, a kind man, a warrior, a king. He will appreciate you and your skills, and perhaps you can find some redemption from the time you've spent, and better travel the world. You can explore, you can improve your skills, and at the next festival, perhaps you can fight a Bjorning with me right next to you.
Make a persuasion check for me.
13.
13. He breathes out slow, long drawn out. What had been eating me away these past couple of days. Not only had I been wrestling with the idea of abandoning Maeglin's orders, but I felt running from that situation, running from a foe so great as Savage Taller, made me a coward. But it's your words, your leadership, that helps me to understand that I have a bigger purpose. I wasn't supposed to die there. Caleth here, hoping that he lives to... You see, he is my friend, one of my best friends. But he does have undying devotion to Maeglin. And where
Which is an admirable quality. A devotion to your leader, and a respectful loyalty, and a commitment. These can all be pure, just things to feel. But you are not a slave. And I think that is maybe where you differed. You were friends, you were both served under this man, but you had your doubts of him, but still respected him. Whereas he didn't. He followed him blindly. That is not a path that a warrior should take. That is to lay down and accept what anyone else has said and not fight for your own true beliefs.
He shakes his head. He doesn't say anything, but shakes his head noddingly. Wise words. Well, we fought on one battlefield together. Who knows? Maybe in time there will be another one waiting for both of our spears.
Actually, speaking of that, did you craft your spear? Where did you get that? I saw that you fought with it quite proficiently.
Oh, this. And he holds it out in front of him. And it is very fine wood. In fact, there's actually kind of this small, almost copper-like gold inlay that kind of wraps its way up the handle, all the way into a kind of very sharp tip. Upon examination, you can tell that this is elven made. Very, very, very impressive. But upon examining it, you see that it's also very old. This... Well, you see, when Caelithir and I, when we ran for it, when we left the service of King Thranduil, we were going to take something with us. We went into the barracks and grabbed what had been keeping our eye for so long. I don't know what these spears are, but I do know that they are sharper than anything I have ever used before. I call them a biting spear, as they bite deep into the flesh of those that oppose us. And King Thranduil kept these under lock and key. As you can tell, it's old. I have no idea the craftsmanship that it took to create something such as this. But it is truly a glorious weapon to use in battle.
I'm gonna say Feanor, like looking at the weapon, is looking at it like almost greedily. Like, if like anything that would be close to someone, like almost like smacking their lips. Like he's like, it looks impressive. Like, I was hoping that it was perhaps something that you had made or something you had been given. Perhaps I might recreate it, but it might not be something you want to consider, considering it as a part of your past. But you have two pathways with that: to either use it in your future to redeem yourself, or to leave it with Lord Elrond and his people, so that the agents of King cannot find you so easily. I have no doubt that this is probably something that they have identified that you have taken. Be careful with it. May it always strike true.
I always believed that it was my destiny to wield a blade such as this into battle, but deep in the back of my mind, I know it probably will lead to my ultimate demise. But this makes leaving the Thranduil's court, Thranduil's halls, all the worth it. I just hope that my brother-in-arms, Caelithir, can hold on to his in the deep dark of Mirkwood. He's going to need it.
So even if something has befallen him, even if you never do meet again, it'll rest with him, where it belongs. And then just going to continue going forward until we come to...
You come to the meadow. On the other side of this stone bridge, you see this young lady in a field of flowers as she finishes making a flower crown. You see with...
Oh, one sec.
Yes. You see, basically turning away from you, a very familiar silhouette. A silhouette of a tall elf, An elf adorned in blue and gold, that of the coloration of Imladris. Making his way inside.
Feanor's already sprinting. He's already like fucking bolted past Norton. He's like, "I'll be back." He is going to slam into Valineth, even if Valineth cannot see him, and just embrace him with the biggest hug and spin him around.
All right, I'm gonna say, make a stealth check for me. I know you're not doing this stealthfully, but we're gonna see how this goes. Make a stealth check. For
a
me.
19.
19. You do. You actually make your way through at top speed across this field.
Probably a meter from him, and I'll be like, Valineth!
You do not hear the approach until you hear Valineth, and Valineth, you wheel around.
Whoa! My goodness! Oh! Tackle to the ground. Oh, what is the meaning of this? Unhand me, you savage! Then suddenly he sees that it's Feanor.
Oh god, I missed you.
Feanor!
Yep, I know.
Feanor,
Looking
you're
good.
alive!
Yeah,
You're
I'm
back!
still hugging him, by the way, like almost like lifting you off the ground, even though I'm considerably shorter than you.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
And
can I
Valineth gives
grapple
him
him?
a
Can I
hug
grapple him?
back.
I want
Feel
this
free to
be, like,
grapple him.
almost I want us to be like a suffocating, like, kind of hug. Okay, I got an 18.
Okay, make just a straight up strength saving throw for me, Valineth.
Alright. Well, that's a +0, so we'll see how this goes. That's a 13.
He's got you in a tight grip.
Okay, calm down, Feanor. Calm down. I can't breathe. And he's trying to, like, nice deep breaths. What happened? What happened out there?
Yeah. Okay. So Feanor does put him down. He's like, well, it's complicated, but all you need to know is that I defeated Savage Tola. I know, hard to believe, but I killed Maeglin and defeated Savage Tola.
Make a deception check.
A 4.
Do with
And
that as you will.
Valineth smirks to himself. Valineth smirks to himself. He's like, my, what a tall order that must have been.
Yes.
But I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're safe, my friend.
Yes, this is the part. Wait, where are the others? Are they safe?
Oh yeah, so I mean, all except for Jalen, of course. But yes, everyone else is inside the
I
inn.
can't wait.
But
I can't wait to see Kayla, Daedric, and
But-
Bori.
Feanor,
What's up?
we have a friend here, of course. She is of the Shire, as you can see. My new Hobbit friend. Her name is Jessamine Sackville Baggins.
Nice to meet you. Anyway, the confusing part, the part that is.
Feanor. I understand that this situation is different. I understand that, but we need to keep our manners as elves, of course.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Hi there, nice to meet you. I'm Feanor the Lactuin. And you are.
She'll offer hands in a familiar gesture at this point to Valineth. But first,
He's kind of looking at her hands, looks at Valineth like.
your hands, please.
Go ahead.
He offers them to you. His hands are incredibly dirty. Like he's not like he's got like just dirt and like almost like grease and actually because he's been on the road and would never had any utensils or anything like that other than his knife. A thing they used to actually do back in the day is after you had eaten, you would rub your hands in ash to get rid of all the fat and stuff on your hands. So he's actually got like ash and like blackened tipped fingers.
Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah, takes her hands and he's like, "Hello." This is intimate.
So, yeah, bear in mind that she is a tiny 5 foot. No, she's 2'5".
So he's kneeled. He's
perfect.
kneeled. Like, very respectful. He's like kind of like taking his hood off, like put his cape to one side, kneeled down and grabbed her hands like, "Hi there."
It's a joy to meet you, Feanor. Your friends are inside. I believe Kala is in up the stairs, first room to the right, and the others should be inside eating breakfast. Please.
Which breakfast? I've met hobbits before.
Second breakfast, of course.
Oh, okay, thank God. I only missed first breakfast.
Don't worry, I'll give you an extra lunch to make up for it.
Oh, thank God.
Kyle, does Valinith notice the other elves?
Yep, make a
in the
perception check. I
distance?
was just gonna say, make a perception check.
Anyways, continue.
Well, yes, that'd be very kind. Valinith, sorry, it's very nice to meet you. Jessamine.
an eight.
It's just
Did-
my
did you say
sack
back-
back.
Did you say Baggins?
Yes, yes. And yes,
Oh.
before you walks, he is my cousin.
Who?
No one.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I thought you were going to ask about Bilbo because everyone asks about Bilbo.
No, I met some hobbit performers. while I
Bilbo
was at the-
Baggins, did I hear?
Oh my God, there's a very loud gentleman inside.
That would be Jody. You
Yes,
should
I'll have
go
to say-
inside and eat before all the food is gone.
Perhaps, do you mind if I have a moment alone with my kin here?
Of course. I
There's
need to
something
get some poultice for your hand anyway. I'll be back.
For what? Oh, he's like looking at his hands like, but they're not cut. What are you talking about?
Valinith.
He's completely oblivious to how how dirty he is.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
Oh
sure.
no, I was okay. Not that you would know, but Jess was talking about Valinith's hands. So
Oh yeah, yes. Feanor's
not
still
that you would
says,
know.
Feanor's like still like, yeah, my hands are fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Valinith.
She's a healer. At least she claims so. Yeah.
You look at you still have the crystal wrapped around your wrist and placed on your hand. And
Yes.
you still have it held up even with Feanor like grasping you and holding you tightly. You just have kind of like this whole thing like, oh yes, thank you, like it's good to see you. But you do, as you look out with this interaction going, you do see the head of a very familiar elf by the name of Cranthiel. You see her peeking out just beyond the wood. You don't see any other elves with her, but you do see her.
Valinith squints his eyes. And he goes like, he forgets about his hand and he goes like this. Wait. Feanor, is that Cranthiel?
That's part
He's
of
like
the
trying-
difficult part. Let's. Can we just take a step away? I don't want people overhearing it until I've had a chance to talk to you.
Well, of course, but shouldn't we invite her in? She shouldn't be
Well,
standing out there in the wild alone.
We will in a moment, but okay. So, I took this whole forgiveness thing that you've been trying to tell me to do,
Hmm.
and more or less kind of potentially invited the survivors of Savage Troll's attack to maybe come and visit and address and meet the Lord.
Wait, you're telling me it wasn't just you and Cranthiel? There were others who survived.
Yeah, like I did most of the work, but you know I had assistance. Caranthiel did some good
Sounds-
healing, but
Sounds typical of you, Feanor.
that might not be all friendly faces. That is what I wanted to talk to you about first and ask you what your thoughts were on this. I trust your judgment on these kinds of things, but some of the elves that I was able to save are Nornir, the hunter the head scout that I was able to familiarize myself with. Quite an honorable man. Cranthiel, as you saw, but also Taladir and some others. Insert character names that I definitely know from
Oh, yeah.
having been there.
For sure.
You have to know, Feanor. I am about forgiveness, but they did terrible things to us and our companions. I'd like to see these elves first before we bring them close to anyone to this inn. This is a peaceful place.
I understand. That's
We don't want any trouble.
that's fine. It's why I wanted to come to you. As much as we were both their prisoners, we had it a little bit better. I don't want to subject Baldor and Belgo or Eadric or Kalar to that yet. And I made no promises, but I said to them I would speak to you about It was ultimately up
Well-
to you.
I'd still like to speak to them. Are they nearby? Is it just Caranthiel, or are there
Oh,
others
they're all-
nearby as well?
They're all just there within and Feanor starts to walk over. So-
Okay, and Valnith follows.
And Feanor makes a little hand sign, probably that him and Nornia would have used while hunting to like reveal yourself if you're trying to scare an animal or something. And like makes like a friendly gesture towards like the.
For sure.
But continues walking towards them.
Yeah, and as you do so, a number of elves begin to peek their heads out, including Nornir, Taladir, and the remaining elves. Jess, what are you doing in this moment?
I am probably going to my rooms first of all to pick up some stuff from there, and then the kitchen for some fresh ingredients and bread because we love bread. And then if I meet anyone along the way that was part of Valinus' original party, I'll let them know. Your friend Fëanor has shown up outside. Yeah.
To which, Theodric, as you finish up talking with the lovely friar, he is a joy to behold. You see that sticking her head inside, Jess calls in, "Your friend is back."
Theodric.
Yes.
Hi. You mentioned that one of your party was missing. Would that happen to be Fëanor?
He's here.
He just showed up outside. He's talking with Valinith. They wanted a moment alone, but I thought I'd better tell you that he's arrived.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
And Theodric is going to stuff the last of his second breakfast into his mouth, grab his sword, and dash out the door.
You do so sprightly.
boy.
I love
no.
how proper.
Do I
Jess
hear
is.
the
This
loud-
is so great.
Do I hear the loud bang of Theodric kicking the door open?
I would assume so. It's pretty
Without
loud.
even turning around, it's like, I can guess who that is, but I still have important things to talk about. I turn around, Theodric, I'll talk with you in a moment.
Yeah, as you've started making this is all happening as you've started making your way back across the bridge. But Theodric, you look from side to side. What do you want to do? Are you hanging out, or are you just sprinting along towards them, or are you casually walking? Whatever. What are you doing?
He is going to pause for a moment and consider. They said they needed a moment to talk.
Or will he give it to them? That's the important question here.
He might just. Can he see them from where he is? Or...
Yeah, you can see, for sure. It would be kind of difficult to see the elves across the bridge, but you could definitely see Fëanor and Valinith walking towards the bridge.
They seem to be busy, and that breakfast is still nice and warm. Fëanor will be fine. And Theodric turns and goes back for more food.
Seeing him walk back inside, Fëanor looks at Valinith and goes, "Didn't think that would work."
Looks like at least for now,
Jess-
crisis averted.
Jess will come
I'm actually
out
quietly at
just
glass.
as Theodric's going in, and like she'll sort of look, see Theodric moving back inside. She'll look, see those guys moving off in the distance, and then she'll just go, okay. And she'll sit down on the front step and light up a pipe.
Mm-hmm. And as Theodric, you make your way in, you hear Agatha says, "Oh, hot cakes already! Oh, you're back for some more second breakfast, of course." And she begins scooping some pancakes onto a plate for you, Theodric. But yeah, Jess, you begin smoking your pipe and enjoying yourself, which brings us back to Fëanor and Valinith.
Valnith approaches, and he has his hand gripped to the dagger. Not necessarily like hard, like he's gonna pull it on anyone, but just in case anything dicey goes down, he doesn't want to be caught off guard again. So, but he'll continue to walk and follow Fëanor towards the direction.
Oh, he probably stopped once he's like crossed the bridge, more or less, like kind of past the threshold that's beginning to go back. This wooded area. So.
Yep. And Valineth calls out, Corinthial, I'm happy to see that you're alive and well.
Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? I didn't have my hopes up that you going away on the wagon would be the last that I saw of you. But it's very good to see you again, Valineth.
As it is as the feeling's mutual, my friend. And he goes over to her and gives her a very warm hug. And I'm assuming at this point he also sees the other elves just standing there.
Absolutely. Everyone has come out of the trees. And what you notice, the thing that shocks you beyond belief, there are so few of them. So few of them compared to the entire like group of them that were keeping you hostage. Like again, literally it's Taladir, Nornir, Caranthiel, and then 4 other elves. It's a very small, you would even consider this barely a scouting party.
Does Valineth see their condition? Is it obvious their condition?
So their condition, they look battle worn, but none of them look like they're on the brink of death or anything. Like they look decently hurt, but clearly they've been keeping good pace to keep up with you.
Yeah. Valineth gives them a nod, and he also calls to them, or he turns to Feanor and he says, "Are you sure these elves are safe?"
Yes, at least from what I can tell, Taladir has seemed to have had his eyes opened. I wasn't lying, by the way, when I said that Magellan died, but he died at the hands of Savage Tola. So, yeah, we actually died quite
I
nobly.
don't know.
Defending all of his friends and companions. Like I said, I'm not particularly upset about it, but they seem to all be pretty cut up. But they seem to have been in a dark patch. Remember when Caranthiel told us that we were the first people that they captured? That seems to have been a more recent change. But I can't speak for literally every single one of them, but none of them have made any attempts to harm me. All of them seem quite thankful to be alive and hopeful, even. And Feanor says that with quite a smile on his face. I think I was able to give them some semblance of hope.
But what of that of our non-elven companions? What happens when they encounter them? I mean, you and I, of course, we're both elves. I think we understand that we have a general understanding of each other, but I don't know how Theodric's going to react when he sees them. I don't know how Belgo and Baldur are going to act when they see them. They treated them like animals, Feanor.
Oh, can't hear
we
you.
can't hear you, Nick. You're talking.
I know, but nothing can change the past. But like I said, I tried some of that forgiveness. It's pretty powerful stuff. And I know it's different for us being so long-lived. Who knows? In 300 years, we might look back at this and have a laugh at our 3-week adventure through the Mirkwood. You know, but I do know it is going to be different. That's why I wanted to talk to you.
Of course.
I do think that these elves should be given some semblance of hospitality, not for free, obviously, but even if we do not send them off to Rivendell, they shouldn't be hunted the way they are.
Valineth smiles to himself and he says, it seems like you're growing up a little bit, young one.
How dare you insult me like that?
And Valineth chuckles to himself. But he says, but of course, forgiveness is an act that's done on an individual basis. You can't expect everyone to do that. Of course, I'm in a place right now. I know these elves. We're just following orders. And I do believe there is redemption to be had, but I can't say the same for our companions. I mean, they were responsible for the death of our companion, Feanor. Maybe not them directly, but they served under the elf who was. I can forgive, but I can't promise that the rest of our party is going to do so.
Well, I'm not asking them to forgive them. Forgiveness is it can be a difficult road. I haven't had very many people who have hurt me in that way, and it's only through a bond that I have with Corinthiel that I've been able to begin to do that and perhaps offer a different direction.
Mm.
But I need to ask them to trust me.
Well, if you trust them, Feanor, then I do as well. And actually, Valnith goes over to Corinthial and.
By the way, was all this conversation like? Was this kind of on your own, or was it in front of everybody?
I mean, like,
I'll say maybe it was wrapping up as we like got to the end of the bridge or something. Like as
yeah, like we saw the elves who were walking towards there, that direction.
Okay.
If they are really good at hearing, maybe they heard some of that. I don't know. It was just conversation.
All right. Hence the whole Valinith, there you are. And then Corinthial comes, and then you see everybody. So, okay.
Yeah.
And Valinith embraces and actually tells Corinthial, "Are you doing all right? I mean, there's so few elves out there.
Well,
are you holding up all right?"
We're alive, aren't we? And Feanor, he was a hero back there. I want you to know that. In fact, all of you were. Valinith.
Yes.
I just want to say I'm sorry for everything.
You don't need to apologize. You know that.
I just feel that, well, we are responsible for a degree for everything that... She hesitates for a moment as she begins to say Maeglin's name.
Mm-hmm.
Maeglin had us doing. And I will tell you this. All of us here have had a change of heart. We're not here to take you up north to the Northmen. None of us want to overthrow King Thranduil. We're just looking for a place of safety and a place to call home. And I
Aren't
know
we
that,
all?
I know that we're... Well, you and I maybe not so much, but our group was an adversary against your group. It's not easy to forget when you've been held captive by someone against your will. But do know that my sole purpose and my only purpose has been for life. I never wanted to see anybody hurt, especially your friend. And now that I feel like I'm past any kind of ears that would even care of what I have to say. Valinith, I am truly and deeply sorry out of the bottom of my heart.
Valnith smiles and places a hand on her head and ruffles her hair a bit and says, "You're a good one, Corinthial. Never change. I think you have a lot more lives to save here in the future. And it seems like you've kept this hardy bunch alive and persevered at least to this point. But you also need some care yourself. It's important to stay tip-top shape if you're expected to do so. So right now, of course, you don't need to apologize to me. I've forgiven you, and I know the heart that you have. And in fact, I think you're probably the only one that any of my party members would actually respect at this point. But for now, I think you should get some rest, my friend." And he gestures over towards Jessamine sitting on the porch. "In fact, we're in the company of another healer." And Valnith holds out his hand with the crystal around his wrist. And he says, "She's teaching me a new form of healing. A little bit skeptical about it, but I mean, I'm always willing to learn something new. Maybe you should go learn from her as well."
She looks at the hand and she sees that like this gem is wrapped around your wrist and placed over your wound. She's like, "Oh, If you want, I can heal that up in a pinch. I just need to stitch it a little bit, and it seems like that this crystal. Is it magic? I know magic, but and she kind of looks skeptical at it too. But she just brushes it aside. She's like, "Best go ask from the source." And she makes her way, and she nods to the rest of the group and says, "Now, every one of you, understand that these are our friends now. All of them. Nornir, Taladir," and then she mentions the others' names. "We are to be guests here. We are meant to pick up the slack. We can't just expect everything to be given to us, and we can't just take what we've wanted as we've done in the past. We're in civilized society now. If
I might add, it might be best for at the moment to set up camp here somewhere outside, at least a temporary one."
Nornir, he nods and says, "I found the woods more peaceful than any tavern any day, anyway. If you say so." And then he looks over actually to you, Valineth. "So, Valineth, how much of the old stuff do you still got on you? A tent would be nice."
We can prepare you supplies. We have that. We still have the cart, and he gestures over to the car over in the, parked over by, the stable, I guess, of the inn. It's not a very big inn, but we still have everything. We can set you up, and we can patch up whatever you haven't been patched up. And he gestures to the other elves who aren't doing too well. Obviously, Corinthiel and I will help mend these wounds. We also have another healer here who can potentially lend her efforts. That is, if you're okay with a hobbit working on you.
Well, to be honest, if she can do anything to deal with some of these burn wounds. Yes, we've learned to treat spider wounds in the past, but it got pretty hot back there.
Mm-hmm.
I am pretty good like that, using fire as a weapon. Yeah.
Feanor, don't make a hobbit of it.
He kind of looks at the other elves and see, I had to deal with this all the time. Trying to not let Valineth hear. He's like, I deal with this all the time, constantly. Please.
Valineth's proud of himself with that joke.
Look, maybe I'm thinking, you know what? I overreacted. Don't go to Rivendell. They're all like this. I'm sure. I bet you that. It's like this is a mistake. And he just kind of goes off to himself. You just hear him muffled go, "This is a mistake." Yep. As he keeps walking away towards the tavern.
Theodric, I'm gonna have you make a perception check for me.
Yeah, and as this is going on, Valineth turns to Taladir and Nornir and says, "I'm happy to see you alive. I didn't get much time to interact outside of just everyday checking in healing. But I'm glad to see that you're seeing things the way that we're seeing things now."
Don't get
I
me
got
wrong,
a 10 on that
Taladir.
check.
Perfect. Taladir, he pipes in. "Don't get me wrong. It's gonna take some time to. Well, yes, 3 years has been a long time in the woods, and it's gonna take some time to change everything. But we should be grateful to you. The fact that you offer hospitality to us, regardless of how we treated you. That shows bravery, and I can respect bravery."
Valineth kind of gazes down and back up. "Of course I forgive you. I don't know the details. I'm sure I'll be filled in at some point here about what went down back in that encounter with Savage Taller. However, I forgive you, of course. I think there's redemption in there. But it's not me who requires that. It's my companions. See, you treated them terribly. You treated them less than the living lives that they are."
He's finding it very hard to hold your gaze right now. His eyes keep going, kind of wandering a little bit.
And Valineth sincerely places a hand on whose eyes are
Taladir.
doing that. Taladir, on Taladir's shoulder. You have to know, my friend. Iluvatar created us all. And I know you can't necessarily change your perception right here, right now, but we are all part of this greater Middle-earth. In fact, my Lord Elrond, they call him the half-elf, in a sense. And I feel that little by little it'll heal, but I don't know if my companions can forgive you. I don't know that you necessarily deserve that forgiveness at all. But I think it is important to apologize to them.
He thinks for but a moment. Well, for what it's worth, and Nornir kind of gives him like a little push on the shoulder. Fine. I'm sorry for everything that we've done to you. Thank you for your forgiveness, Master Valineth. Hopefully your companions can be as gracious. And he kind of looks around and just like this whole time, he's not being standoffish. He's being very awkward. Like he is not looking forward to whatever interaction is going to be happening at the future here. And Nornir, without too much hesitation, he apologizes as well. Theodric, but as this whole shtick is going down, you look out the window as you're halfway into pancake number 4, and you see casually walking up towards the cabin, the inn, a female elf, very familiar face, and she happily with a smile on her face, eyes fixed on Jessamine, approaches. You see this as one of the elves make their way. You see that Feanor and Theodric seem to be talking to someone, and Feanor has just turned around to join back. However, Valineth is still talking to someone. You notice all of this. You're not, from that distance, you're not able to quite make out who it is, but you do see that Valineth is talking to people.
Okay. And Theodric, he doesn't see anyone other than Feanor, Valineth, and Granthiel, correct?
Mm-hmm.
He is going to put down his pancake and kind of not draw his sword, but he has placed it firmly on the table for easy access. And he's looked over to Belgo, who is on his left, and Baldur, and he's kind of, I guess, giving Baldur a look, and just kind of like nodding his head towards the door.
Baldur looks around and just kind of looking at the door. He's gonna make a perception check. He sees what you're gesturing at. Belgo does not. And as you're doing this, Agatha, she's actually taken a cloth and has started cleaning the table. And as you place your sword on the table, she's like, ta-ta-ta-ta! Swords off the table, please. This is a place of eating. And she basically pulls out of like kind of a little pouch like a butter knife and hands it. This is for cutting, not that. Different things. Understand?
Well, hopefully I won't need to use either of these.
Oh, I hope so too. We are the Easterly Inn, of course.
And Theodric will pick up his longsword and slowly push his chair out, so he's got some distance to stand quickly if he needs to, and he's going to wait.
You do so, and you keep your eyes out the window, and as you do so, from underneath the table, kind of like up underneath the table, you see Rufus's head. He's just, it's like trying to like sniff out the pancakes. He's like crouched under and is just like trying to get as close as possible to your pancake or your last half a pancake before, but your eyes are fixated on the outside.
I will give him the last of my pancake.
Yeah, he gladly takes it. And then he looks and he's just very hot, stinky breath. Yes, so out to Jess. You see Caranthiel. She approaches you and she you're smoking. She's like, "Oh, what a lovely flower crown you've got there." And she kind of kneels down to look kind of eye level with you. "My name is Caranthiel. I'm friends of Feanor. It's nice to meet you."
Caranthiel, it is a joy to meet you. I am Jessamine Sackville-Baggins.
Jessamine, what a beautiful name. And she holds out her hand in order to address, to shake.
Yeah, I don't shake, but I do take her hand in both of mine in like a very, yeah.
Oh, my.
Sort of friendly gesture.
What well-kept hands you have. You must have just recently manicured these. And then she looks at her own hands in kind of like disbelief and just kind of takes her hand away.
I have several scrubs I use, as well as a little bit of trickery. I tend keeps my skin smooth and my hair manageable.
But I must say, it's doing a wonderful job.
Like, okay, you have described
Caranthiel.
thank you, as like being very beautiful in
She
the
is
past.
very
Like, how does she look now? Like, fresh eyes, introducing to the new character. How's she looking?
I mean, her hands are a little bit dirty for sure, but she still looks beautiful. She didn't like suffer
She's
like any
she
burns
definitely
or
not
like
as
anything
dirty
like that.
as Feanor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Is she anywhere close to being that dirty? No.
She's got, you could tell like she's done what she can to like get rid of like any kind of soot. She's not been using ash to wipe her hands or like anything like that. But she's still looking really well kept. But definitely you can tell that she is probably not like a high elf that's like living on like a proper diet and like always has the time to be able to make sure that she's taken care of. But she looks pretty good for being out in the wilderness.
Well, I must say, of the two of us, I think people would find you by far the more fair.
That's too kind of you to say, but...
Well, I have often found that it is not good to compare one's appearance to others, except when need of perhaps a moral boost.
I really like you. You said your name is Jessamine, and you are...
Please, feel free to call me Jess.
Jess. I'm afraid I haven't come across any of your people before. Are you a hobbit?
Yes, I am. One of the Sackville-Bagginses.
You could tell, like, as, like, Sackville Baggins, like, it doesn't cross her mind. Like, nothing. Like, she doesn't immediately respond to, like, Baggins or anything.
Yeah. I have a feeling, and I, like, take her hands in mine again. I have a feeling that we will get on exceptionally well.
I do too. In fact, from what I hear, we have much more in common than, well, our looks. I hear that you're a healer of sorts. You're healing my friend Valineth as we speak.
Yes. I suspect I would have much more success in the endeavor if he would actually stay in one place long enough to be healed. But I do what I can to practice the spiritual arts that my grandmother passed on to me.
Spiritual arts. I know.
Yes, I confess I have a lot to learn in this arena, and I am young still, but I hope to continue to grow.
She's very eagerly nodding and like agreeing and kind of hanging on every word that you're saying. Well, you must understand too. I myself am very young for an elf, just past my 100th year, and I have much more that I need to learn as far as healing. I know herbalism. I could tell you any herb that comes out of Mirkwood and what the medicinal uses are, but I've never heard such a thing as crystals, and in fact, I've never heard of spiritual healing. I know magic. I can. And she hesitates for a moment. I'm familiar with magic. But is this along those lines, or is it something deeper?
It would be it's simple to explain and complicated at the same time. I have no knowledge of your magics or your healing ways. This is my first time out of the Shire, I confess. Truthfully, I am not certain that other races are connected in the same ways or in the same forms as my kind. My grandmother usually she only healed hobbits, and mostly women at that. She found men too stubborn.
She laughs, kind of chuckles a little bit, and then realizes that you're serious and
I agree, it's ridiculous. But if you wanted me to try and explain it, I suppose I could attempt.
well, I've got nothing but time, my dear. That is, of course, if you have the time to do so.
But please, for my manners, you should go inside and find something to eat. I can tell you have had a rough few days at least.
Thank you for your kindness. I'm not sure what the Shire is or where it is, but clearly you are far from home. And if this place provides rest for someone so far from home, perhaps I can find it too, being away from my home as well.
She Jess will like reaffirm her grip on their hands and just stare like directly into her eyes, and she says, "You have nothing to fear here. You are safe.
Thank
Be
you.
warm and be welcome.
Thank you so much. It's
And
been a
watch
long
out
time
for
since I've had kind words.
well, if you'll take a few more, watch out for Dodie. He likes to talk in very he's very energetic.
Okay. I will be careful, but I will mind my manners as well. Dodie.
Brandybuck.
Brandybuck. Okay. I think I've got it. Well, thank you so much. You enjoy your smoking, and I look forward to talking again.
Would you like me to go in with you?
I would love nothing more.
Okay. I'll extinguish my pipe and lead her in.
Theodric,
Would Fainor have gotten to them?
Yeah, right at the very end of this.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
I'd love a tour. Like at the very catches the last words.
Of course, you are welcome as well, Fainor.
The door opens, and Theodoric, you see Corinthial having this short conversation with Jessamine. Makes her way in, and you can smell her sweet aroma that you do remember. The only bright light in the horrible situation that you were in. But you do see her, and she gives you a smile and approaches the counter. Her eyes kind of settle on you, Baldur, and Belgo for a moment. And she gives you a nod and a small smile, almost like, I'll be back, I'll be right with you. As she makes her way to the counter, as she looks to see who's there, and in fact, a very jovial, welcome to the Easterly Inn. You know, we are the farthest east outpost of the Shire. In fact, Bilbo Baggins, and he begins to give the whole
Dodie.
spiel. Yes,
I
Jessamine.
interrupted mid-meal. Can we have a room, please, and a round of food for this young lady here?
Indeed, a paying customer. Well, I will never turn that down. We have a number of rooms for the bigger folk. I will come this way, Agatha. And then he's looking around, and you can hear someone from the kitchen. Yes, I know. I heard everything, honey. I'll be right out. And yeah, all that's going down. But Feanor, you enter the building as well. What are you doing as you enter?
I am walking in, having like seen kind of that little interaction that goes on. Goes, well, I'm not dealing with that guy, and I'm going to walk over towards Theodoric, Belgo, and Baldur, and I'm gonna be like, well, you guys seem to have made it out okay.
Belgo's eyes and his face.
And I'm like, oh yeah,
Feanor,
come in for the hug.
He gets
As
up
he
and he
goes for
just.
the hug, I'm gonna sidestep him.
Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh man, you can't do that. He's cute.
I almost got a nat 20. No, I got an 8.
8. He basically, you move to the side, and he just is able to like grab your arm as he just like hugs it. Feanor, he begins jumping. You're alive. I knew you'd be alive. You're so strong. What happened? Are you okay?
You thought something could kill me? Jeez, you didn't have much faith in me then.
No, that's not what I meant.
Should I have been worried? Oh no! Everything I've done over the last few days. Oh God, was I in danger?
He's like looking like back and forth, like between Theodoric, between Baldur, between you, just like a little bit confused.
I give his head a rub and say, "I'm just messing with you. It's okay. I'm glad to be back too. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Excuse me, Feanor, are you gonna make a habit of this disappearing thing?"
Theodoric stands at this point and pulls Feanor into a hug.
Feanor's holding his chin. He's not even noticed he's standing up. I'm like, am I gonna make? I have done this.
Theodoric just pulls him into a hug and is like, hopefully not. Your luck is going to run out eventually if you keep doing this, Feanor.
Probably. No, it is good to see you all.
I'm glad you're alive, my friend.
Yes, I have news. Some is good, some not so good. I'm sure you noticed Corinthial is here.
Yes, that is good news.
We'll sit down, and like he sits on like the other side of the table to them. He's like, okay, so Aeglin is dead. Excellent news, right?
There's a huge sigh of relief from Baldur. Just like this is something that he's been like, it's been stirring in his mind, like what happened to Feanor, and you could just hear like this audible as he just begins sinking like lower in his chair.
Yeah, and I was able to escape. Driving back Savage Taller deeper into the Mirkwood. My own actions saving many lives, but that is the other part.
Feanor, you beat that spider?
Yeah, I am pretty cool.
Theodoric,
a lot of fire, but look, maybe I was in danger a couple of times, but nothing too bad. Like I didn't even get hurt.
Really?
The other thing that I am here to tell you about is that a small number of elves joined me on my journey here. I've spoken to Valinus, and he is currently talking to them now. I didn't want to drop this on you out of nowhere. But
Maeglin is
still,
dead.
Maeglin is dead, and from what I understand, while what they did was unacceptable, they were following his orders. But they, at the very least, the ones that I have been able to talk to, seem genuinely hopeful that they can move on with their life. I have spoken to Valinus, and potentially he will show them how to go to Rivendell, where perhaps they can be met with open arms, and at the very least, the Wayward Elves have more or less been disbanded.
Well, I'm
I know,
satisfied then.
I know the fact that elves who held you guys captive here, even if you seem to be a little bit better with it, Deirdre, he like Feanor turns more to Boldor and Belgo, and like he like offers his hands out. If you cannot bear the thought of them being here, that is okay. I can ask them to camp a little further away, but I need you to trust me. I am your guard. I am here to protect you, and I will. But I trust them as well. At least these few. I must ask you to trust me.
Make a persuasion or wisdom check for me.
A 3.
Duh.
Yep.
Duh. Those elves. Well, their leader's dead, right? So, Feanor, we're not going to be taking to the Northern King, right?
No, I would rather die than allow that to happen. Believe me. And like looking at the two of them, it's like, if truly it is not something you can reconcile yourself with, then that is okay. You are my companions. You are the people that I am leading through these woods and through to the Woodman town, the Woodman halls. If them being too close is too much of a stress on the two of you, and you as well, Theodric, even, then I will ask them to go further away. I trust you more than I trust any of them. So your word carries weight with me.
Baldur,
But I ask you, trust me.
Baldur looks at you, and he like furrows his brow as if in deep contemplation. Feanor, I hear the words that you speak, and do understand that while I am glad that you've returned and that a fellow healer is back, my primary concern is to keep my son safe. You have done an amazing job, given the circumstances, at protecting my sons and my life. If you give me your word, I trust you. Perhaps it's not best for Belgo or even myself to make an acquaintance with them quite yet. But do know, my son and I are elf friends. We are friends of King Thranduil, and we are friends of those who show kindness. And clearly you saw something in them to help them survive such a horrific situation.
Believe me, I am not, as much as I'm willing to trust them, I'm still going to take precautions. For example, I would recommend that while we are here at the inn, we remove the pins from the wheels of the wagon. So if they do attempt to steal it at some point, like the wheels fall off and fall apart. It would not be quiet, and it would not be easy. I am still willing to take these precautions. You are my wards, you are in my care. This is still unsure and is still dangerous. But something gives me hope that they're going to trust it. These are like family to Corinthial, and Corinthial is like my family. So I'm willing to give them this one chance to redeem themselves.
Baldur nods. We follow your lead, then. Belgo, you stay in the inn. Yes, you can play with Dando and Rodri, but don't travel too far. I want to make sure I at least can keep my eyes on you, lad. Yes, Dad. By the way, Feanor.
You may see... Oh, yes, Baldur. Above.
You came with the elves, but did you also come with Bori? We didn't see him when he left the woods.
Yes, that is
What?
our... We lost our dwarf.
Valineth said nothing of it. I asked him if everyone was here, and he said they were.
Well, we weren't sure if he stayed back to fight with you or...
He was still
what
in
happened,
the
but-
cart.
Yes, well, we checked the cart and we're down a dwarf.
He's not an exceptionally stealthy fellow.
Well, no,
look,
but apparently he is.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was sitting right next to me in the cart, and then I don't know. He was gone.
I don't recall seeing any tracks on the way here.
No, neither do... Yes.
None
of us noticed he was gone until we were safely disembarking here. And we were unloading the wagon, and we did a head count, and we're short a dwarf. I mean, all dwarves are short, but we're short Bori. We're missing Bori, is what I'm trying to say.
Ori was the one who carved this, and he like touches the whistle that's like around his neck, and he's like, he saw something in me before I'd even met Nim. I'd met Nim once, but I had never called for him. We had never joined each other in battle, nothing. And it was Bori who carved this whistle for me that I had a need to use, and it called Nim to me, and it saved me. He saved me.
Yes.
I hope that wherever he is okay.
Yes, I have a good feeling about Bori, though. He's a very stout dwarf, and he was doing rather well last I saw him, but
I thought
I
so
guess meeting back up with the elves like we planned to didn't exactly agree with his plans.
Well, I hope that someday he can find his way back. I owe him a drink.
Yes. On the other hand, we have new dwarves, and like Sophia. He's fun. You'd like him.
Oh, well, is Sapphire in here? Like,
He is. He's at the far end of the bar. It looks like he's basically like working out some kind of a scratch on the counter. So he's taking kind of like a small chisel and like trying to even it out using sandpaper, wiping it with cloth, he's trying to busy himself
woodwork.
with something. Yeah.
Yes.
Feanor like goes, it'd be much easier if you used a plane.
Oh.
If you got a plane or you used a flatter bladed knife and you hold the other end of the rag, you can pull back and it'll get a much flatter edge on it.
You should go tell him that. I think you know a thing or two about woodworking.
Oh, he's already walked over there. He's telling this to the dude.
Aye, my name is Freya, at your service. Oh, I haven't seen many elves around here until recently, and two of them seem to have come in here. What is your
Well, that's
name,
gonna
Master
change.
Elf?
The name is Feanor.
Feanor. Oh, I know some kind of historical figure or two named Feanor.
Yes, it wasn't the smartest decision from my father to name me after one of the... Well, I guess he wanted power, potentially, to meet me some point in life, But it is what it is. There's a very small difference. His has an umlaut over one of the letters, mine doesn't.
Umlaut? Well, excuse you. What can I do?
Yes,
for you?
no, my companions over there, Theodric, said that you're the life of the party here. And I thought I might introduce myself.
Well, did he now? Well, he's got a
said
good
that you were
eye, that
quite
lad of
lively.
yours.
Yes.
Oh, no one could be quite as lively as, Doty. If you want to get something done, talk to me. I'll talk to you for an hour, but I'll at least get it done. if you talk to him,
Look,
he'll just
I've-
talk your
I've got
ear off for an
familiar-
hour regardless, without getting anything done. But he is a good chap.
I'll make sure to say hello to him. I've heard him call out several times for a certain name, which I am not going to state, but I actually have always
Bilbo
enjoyed the company of
Baggins.
dwarves.
Bilbo Baggins!
Oh God! Don't. Is he looking? Is he looking? And he's like, I was like leaning, like hiding behind his head, like, is he looking at us?
Oi, he is.
Okay, we're going to continue our conversation. I assume he's a gentleman about this kind of thing. I won't interrupt. Or am I wrong?
Oi, Doty! Mind your
Ah,
own
no.
business.
Oh, thank God.
He's my customer.
Someone here who's got some semblance of control and class.
Ah, yes,
I've
yes,
been-
of
I've
course,
been-
of course. Let me know if you need anything from me. In fact, Sir, Master Elf, I am the curator. No, not now. Off with ya. Off with ya.
I'll talk to you later. I'm so glad I've met someone reasonable. I've been around people for so long that are just this and that, and a high elf from Rivendell. It's good to be around someone who speaks plainly with common sense.
Yes. Can't
always
relate
liked
to your
dwarves.
situation, but, I do have common sense.
Yes. I feel like we're going to get along quite well.
Aye, indeed.
Yes, no. If you and he pulls out. I pull out like one of my like hand axes, and I actually like. I'm like, yeah, give me a moment, and like pulling it like flat, like along as well, like pulling towards me, and I start to like plane that little bit flat that he was on. I'm like, yeah. So use a blade, flatter, drawing it towards yourself. It'll provide a cleaner finish, a smoother finish. A bit of a woodwork on myself.
Must be nice being an extra. What, 2 feet taller than me? Maybe 1 foot. Aye, I'll do just that.
But yeah, I give him a little slap on the back, and I'll be like, "Good chat. I better go talk to this guy who runs the tavern. Hello, sir."
Oh, welcome. Is there something that I can help you with that Master Friar can't help you with?
No, I'm just saying hello. Just, like, very flatly, like,
hello,
no.
indeed. He like is a little bit like kind of, but then he's like, hello, indeed. If anything, back in the Shire, hellos and goodbyes are never just simple hellos and goodbyes. In fact, you are the brand new member here at the Easterly Inn. Are you ordering a room, or are you just staying for a meal?
So when he was talking, Feanor goes, "Oh, that's right. Do I have to do the hand thing?" Yeah, I'm Feanor. He's like holding his hands out, like.
He takes your hand and says, "Those are some nice hands you got there. It looks like you've
Thanks, I
done
made
quite a
them
bit of
myself."
work." Ah, ha, 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 ha. Well, you see these hands here, they're much smaller than yours, but they
You wanna
get the
see
job
these
done.
Hands, and I put them in like I get like a fighting pose. I'm like, no, I jest. Perhaps I'll talk to you.
I was
very
afraid
soon
I was
about
going to
what-
have to get Igwar over here to protect me.
No need for that. I'm quite a nice fellow. I just, have that kind of sense of humor. I might come up and discuss a room and food with you soon.
I have
Just
yet
catch
to
up.
encounter any brigands during this new establishment, and so I've always been ready. You always got to keep a sharp mind out, but you seem like a good one, sir. Yes, do come if you want to be a guest for the night. Well, we have plenty of rooms available. If anything, the Easterly Inn is built with big folk in mind.
Actually, I'll take a meal. I won't book a room just yet, but if that's what I'm getting, I'll
That is going to be 2 copper pieces, please.
make it a double.
Breakfast and second breakfast. That's a hobbit belly for me if
Oh, yeah.
I've ever heard of one.
I'm already behind. I gotta catch up.
Indeed. Agatha, 2 orders of breakfast and second breakfast. Have a seat
Yes.
anywhere you'd like.
Thank you. And I go and sit back down next to like Theodric and Baldur and Belgo.
Yes, I see you've met our new host, Dodie.
Yes, he's an interesting fellow. He's perhaps a bit loud for my tastes, but
Oh yes, just you wait. I managed to get him and Valineth in a debate the other night, and it was quite a treat. It was quite a treat, as
Actually,
you
I
can
should
imagine.
like looking out. I'm seeing one of the windows. I like to say it's like, well, how is Valinus doing? And I like look out to see if I can see him. Is he just still chatting away?
Valineth, what are you doing?
I mean, yeah, I think like in general he's chatting, but the one thing he was gonna be doing after that whole conversation happened was he's gonna be checking up on all the wood elves and making sure that they're all patched up because that's what he does.
Make
Can I
medicine
roll a
check for me.
perception check? Can I roll a perception check to see if I can still see Valineth?
Yeah, make a perception check.
Oh, this is gonna go badly. Oh no. Goes
I-
into a rage.
I got a 6.
6. You can barely see him, but again, you can't see if there's anybody that he's talking to. He stands out pretty well. The elves, I mean, you don't know if they're. I mean, they're there. You know that they're there now. You've been made aware of it, but their clothing makes them blend in to woodland surroundings pretty good.
Theodric turns to Vaynor and just goes, "Have you seen his latest accessory? The
Oh, what are you
magic
talking-
healing rock."
What?
Yes, our newest. Have you met Jessamine yet?
Yes, I was briefly introduced. I was
Yes,
I was introduced to a hobbit greeting custom, but then
Yes,
the tavern owner didn't know it. I don't know.
she's a rather odd one, but apparently she can heal with if you hold a rock long enough, you'll heal. Apparently,
What?
and Valineth is currently testing that theory, but
What?
it's-
A
yeah,
rock?
yeah,
Like
yes,
I
a
think
rock.
I have. Perhaps I have one in my boot. No, I don't. But
No, they're special
a
rocks.
rock, as a special rock.
Yes, I don't know. See,
I'm not going to say it's outside of the realm of possibility, but
Is it like stone soup? Belko, he mentions it.
yeah,
I don't
that's
think
probably
so.
the most special rock that I've seen.
Yes, but he's been holding on to it for quite a while now, and
Look, there are vague tales of what like of dwarven gems perhaps having some kind of
Yes,
sway or magics,
but that's the thing. This
but
doesn't
extremely
seem to
rare.
be-
Look, we literally did go past a magic stream. Like, I guess maybe if it was some stones, like some river stones from that magic stream, then perhaps. But I don't believe that's how the magic works. But
Yes, it's rather it's amusing to watch at the very least. Valinor seems intent on learning how this works, but
has it done anything for him? Like,
I mean, it's kept him out of my hair for the day, so.
oh well, look, we take what we can get. We gotta ride this rock thing out. all the
he's
way we
very
can.
interested in seeing if it works, and
Look, I trust him that he's a good enough healer that it won't get infected.
yes.
But a
Jess,
rock?
what are you doing in this moment?
I'm probably helping Caranthiel get situated. So, Meal brought you her room and then get her a bath and a fresh change of clothes if we have one. Stuff like that. Just getting her comfortable.
Absolutely.
Basically. And then after I've done all that, I'll go see where Valineth is, I guess.
Perfect. You make your way downstairs.
As Jess is walking past, I'm like, rocks? What are you talking about?
Are you talking about me, or is this something I shouldn't be
just
informed
rocks. Just rocks. We passed a magic stream, and we're debating if rocks can be magical because they were in a magic stream.
of? Not in my experience, but it usually depends on the rock, on the type of rock.
Ah.
I hope that clears things up.
He looks over at Theodric like, yeah, I think that does clear things up maybe a touch.
Perfect.
Worth pondering.
If you think so, I'm sure it is. Do you know where Valineth is? Is he still...
Oh yes, he's outside.
He's outside talking to some of my other companions.
Awesome. Oh, and if you need anything, just ask the dog. And I'll go.
Dog.
I'll explain the dog. And
Forgot about the dog.
I forgot his name. I didn't write it down.
Shadrach.
Shadrach?
Shadrach.
Shadrach.
Shadrack. Shadrach.
S-H-A...
Oh, I'll tell you all about that dog. And Theodric is just immediately suspicious. Like he does not trust. Like
Doesn't seem to be some kind of dark magics.
I don't know, but I don't trust it.
And as you
Why?
say,
What is
as
it?
you
What is
say,
it?
dark
Wait,
magic, I'm
that's
gonna have you make a persuasion check for me.
Was that me or Fëanor?
Fëanor.
15.
15. You begin to smell something almost sulfurous,
Oh,
followed by a.
so, oh, I look down. Oh God.
Yeah,
that's
right there. Rufus does that, but then you turn around and you see Mr. Shadrach, the smaller dog. He is walking around on two legs, carrying what looks to be a tray of drinks.
Yes. Just
Um,
wait. It gets better. It gets better, Fëanor.
The magic rock thing is seeming much more plausible now.
Right? I'm starting to think that maybe we were eaten by Savage Taller.
Yeah, I think maybe we're just hallucinating somewhere deep in the
It
woods.
gets better.
Theodric,
It will
hit me. Am I awake?
it will wake you up in the morning.
Please, I haven't. I need you to hit me.
Can I roll a unarmed attack?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a 22.
Yeah, that
hit.
hits me.
22 to hit.
Boom.
Three damage.
Oh, okay. Yep, I'm awake.
Yeah, no.
I'm awake.
Wait until you wake up to have it hovering over you.
It can fly?
No. It'll open your door.
He says that really loud, like, it can fly?
No. It'll open your door at whatever time you want to be waking up, and it will lick your face awake.
Okay.
It can open doors. I don't know. It's a dog. It can open doors. It can do. It's carrying a tray. I mean, you can see it, right? I seem to be the only person who's concerned about this.
Look, Theodric, I've seen some horrifying things in the last couple days. The walking dog, while amazing, isn't particularly terrifying.
Look, there's something with it. Okay, I know I sound insane. There is something with that dog.
Have you tried talking to it?
I've been trying to catch it out.
It can
understand
it gets
us.
walking around on back legs. I don't think
I know.
it's being very secretive.
It can understand us. I know it can understand us. I'm just trying to figure out how much.
What's this dog's name?
Shadrach.
Oh, Shadrach, would you please be able to bring a drink to me, please?
You hear a proper woof, 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 and it makes its way over
Thank
down on four legs, and it walks over to you, and it sits down, and it looks at you, and then gives you a deep bow.
I bow back to it.
It basically stands back up and walks back behind the counter and disappears.
Okay, that's definitely strange. We need to find out what's going on here. We need to get to the bottom of this.
But he comes back. And as he comes back, he puts on the counter a small little satchel that says payments. And then he also brings out a menu, and he puts it down in front of you, and you see an assortment of ales and wines. Some of them are elven made, and some of them are completely foreign, as if from the West. They are Shire goods, Breland goods, and even goods from Rivendell that have been collected.
Oh, Fëanor, you definitely have to try some of this Hobbit ale. It is phenomenal.
I will in a moment, but to commemorate our fallen friend, I want to try one of these ales from the Brelands. You bring out 2 of them. And how much is that going to cost?
And the Shadrach, he stands up on 2 feet, doesn't put his paws on the table, but with one of his paws, he puts it over basically like the Breland ale option, and you see that it is 3 copper for one drink.
Okay, cool. I pay.
And he picks up the menu, and he offers basically the pouch to you.
I put the coins in.
And he takes it. and he makes his way back behind the counter, and you hear,
What?
and Agatha's like,
Watching him
yeah,
walk
yeah,
by.
yeah, I understand. Oh, a Breland drink. It's been a while. That young Andy keeps drinking all of our goods, and he's the one who keeps porting it. That's okay. That's okay. Someone who actually is a paying customer is going to be giving this drink. I'll make sure to make it extra frothy and extra special. And she begins making it.
Theodric, we definitely have to find out what's going on with this dog.
Look, I personally, I thought that perhaps it was a changeling, like that one, like the Bjorning we fought in Dale.
Wait, he didn't actually turn into a bear. That's just a rumor.
But some of them can, right? Like they can turn into animals. That's the whole
I
thing.
think so, but I haven't witnessed it.
But
look,
nobody here has
Both
ever...
of you make a
Yeah, but
tradition check.
think about it. Think about it. A Bjorning is as large as a bear. Perhaps that's why people get confused about traditions check.
Yeah,
I got a
tradition
3
checks.
on that. I got a
I
3
got a-
on that roll.
I got a 13.
So, Theodric, in your mind, a Beorning means you are like Beorn, meaning you are a skin changer. And what that means is at will, you can turn into any kind of animal, but most specifically a bear. So in your mind, all Beornings can do that. Feanor, you're more skeptical, but you do know for sure, legend has it, that there is tale of at least one other Beorning that has been able to be a skin changer outside of just Beorn himself.
Look, I don't know what it's going to end up being, but we can't leave this in until we find out. Smash cut to Jess out trying to find Valna.
Yes. Valineth, back to you. Jess, back to you.
Lovely. Okay,
And
yeah.
Valen's just currently just patching up a bunch of elves and whatnot, so that's all he's doing.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
And Jess, you wander. I'm assuming you're going to wander all the way out to that point.
Yeah. Oh. Hello. Somewhat nervously.
You do. And
Valineth?
you see that they all are a little bit shocked that you do approach them. Less aggressive. They more are like taken aback, like they are not expecting you. Some of them kind of look you up and down and then look at Valineth as if expecting some kind of reply.
Oh, Jessamine! Welcome, welcome. These are some elves of the woodland realm. As you can see, they're not doing too well. And speaking of which, and Valineth looks at his hand. Oh, I thought for a moment there the pain had gone away, and then he starts to feel the throbbing again, little by little.
That's because I haven't cleaned it yet. Give it here.
Oh yes, why of course. I've been worrying about other people other than myself. Here, Jessamine. In your hands.
See, that is your problem, Valineth. And I'll just unwrap the bandage I'll put around it. You're too concerned with other people and not concerned about yourself. You need to look after yourself, otherwise how are people going to benefit from you?
Ah, wise words indeed, Jessamine. Speaking of which, why do we have the grace, or why are you out here? Why are you seeing us?
I'm here because I haven't been able to put this poultice on your hand.
Oh,
and I
yes,
need
of
to do it
course.
soon. All right.
Okay. Please.
This will sting a bit. And she just smears on this weird green slimy sort of substance. It stings a lot.
Kid Valineth sniff it.
You do. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
A wisdom saving throw.
I've been evil the whole time.
What is this shadow that you just put into my wound?
It's a 13.
13. Upon first investigation, you can tell that it is a natural secretion. So there is nothing that is immediately disgusting, but at the same time, the pain is crazy. It begins to just sting at first, and then it begins to turn into kind of almost like this flame, like fire, like in your wound, and it doesn't cease. It just keeps going and going, and you see that it's kind of like shimmering, and you're just trying to figure out what the heck is this herb, what the heck is this herb, what the heck is this herb, but you can't put your finger on it. You have no idea.
I don't know what is this, Jessamine? It hurts. In all my years of medicine, I have never been in such pain from healing. Oh, my hand.
All the elves will react like, we should have used this as torture methods.
Try not to get hurt in the first place. Valineth, you understand now, yes?
Are you punishing me? I'm just curious. I just want to know. And he starts crying slightly down his head.
I promise. Valineth, look at me. I promise I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm just trying with some rather limited resources in an unfamiliar area to look after you as best as I can.
And I appreciate it, but what is this?
I like how all of the responses are just like, I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm in so much pain, but what's going on? What is this?
Please.
I love how all 5 of us are collectively losing it.
From dogs to stinging green. Oh gosh.
It's gonna be an excellent episode.
Yeah.
And Valineth it tries to do his best to man up a little bit and hold back the tears. He's like, I trust you.
Do I have anything that would numb like a pain like this? I imagine I would.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like apply that afterwards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What
kind of
does
like
it look
a topical like ointment that you can put on to make it kind of numb like the
That'll
skin around the area.
After
Yeah.
that nasty green stuff was on my cut and it was taken off and whatnot, what does my wound look like?
First, Jess, I'm gonna have you make either a persuasion check or no, not persuasion. Oh no, persuasion, deception, or performance. One
Okay.
of the 3.
Can I GM roll so he doesn't know what it is? Okay. Let's see.
Oh, this is great.
It's almost a little
Oh my
ominous if
God.
you're holding your hand up to the camera like that.
What?
Look at it.
Look at
Oh,
it. I want all of you to look at it.
oh,
What did you do to me?
my chest hurts. Oh my gosh.
Maybe you should get some green stuff to put on it. Theodore.
12.
From what she's told you, everything that you've gone through, especially after applying the topical ointment, oh
Yeah.
man, you feel a lot better. Does it look better? You don't care, but you feel better. You went from extreme pain to instant relief.
I do
Why-
love the fact that medicine wasn't actually an option in what you gave me.
I think you're narrowing down what class she may be.
I know.
Really?
Oh god. It's gone. Now you need to tell me what this is that you put on it, cause my goodness, that green stuff. That doesn't need to be used on any. I want to use it on my worst enemy. But this, we're on to something here, Jessamine. We're on to something here. I can't hear you,
I can't.
but we're on to something.
Can't hear you,
I'm
Jess.
just laughing at
She's really good at mining. What
We
she's
can't
saying.
hear you, Leah.
Yeah, that would make sense because I muted myself.
I'm sorry.
That's
Oh.
okay.
Sorry.
No, Valineth went
You were
deaf.
saying.
It was one of the side effects of his. He's like, what is this?
I can't hear.
Look,
It's like that moment where Frodo is in Osgiliath and the ring wraiths are flying over and it's just nothing.
Oh,
He's
you
just
did.
walking through the puddles. Like
Oh boy. Yeah, so look, Valineth, you have to understand, I grew up with my nan healing and treating very minor sort of afflictions
Yes,
and
yes.
things. Open wounds are not something you normally get except in small children when they fall out of trees. So
But out here, open wounds are quite the thing. Just promise me never to use that green stuff again. I beg of you. I beg of you.
all right,
Make a persuasion check.
it works, but no, it's...
Me?
I mean,
Yes.
I suppose I could take the lemon juice out of it. That might help.
Lemon juice?
It's to
And the
clean
salt.
it.
The lemon juice and salt probably didn't go
It's an
well
11.
together.
Exactly.
His basically everything they say, it's very honest, and everything, it's just like you don't necessarily sense any kind of doubt in what you're doing, but he just looks like he is just like a child. Like you view him right now as like a child who is just in pain and needs care. Valineth.
Who, me or?
Yeah, you Jess, you view
Oh.
Valineth that way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's just
That
me.
being
Maybe you should.
the case.
Yes, yes.
That being the case, look, Valineth, you've clearly been through a lot. So,
Yes.
how
I
about
have.
I take you back to the inn, and we can have cookies and hot cocoa.
Why, that sounds like a magnificent idea, but first, we need to care for these patients. Do you have any more of that green stuff? And looks
all of them like back away, like you'd hear Taladir whisper to one of the others, "Did she say lemon juice?"
And,
This is gonna be it's gonna be great when her and Feanor talk about like natural remedies because he does know a few just from having lived in the woods. So it's gonna be very interesting, very fun.
Yeah. But yeah, Valineth does his best to finish up his job, and then he giddily trots in for some cookies and hot cocoa. Yeah.
None of the elves join you as they do await word from Feanor on what the dealio is. But you do enter the tavern, and it is lively. At this point, the entire crew has joined up at one of the far tables by kind of like this big picturesque window out into the valley, including Baldur, Belgo, Kalar. He's made his way down, and he's far less jittery these days, actually, believe it or not. He's doing good. He's enjoying breakfast. His second breakfast only. He doesn't quite have the appetite for other stuff.
I feel like we'd be well past second breakfast and truly into morning tea at this point.
Yes, that's true. Tea has come out. It has been passed around.
Not quite 11sies.
I'm here for the
quite
cocoa.
11sies, but we're in morning tea territory.
Perfect. Valineth, you come in looking for cookies and cocoa.
Yeah. Feanor's actually gonna say, how did it go? Did you reach a decision out there?
Oh, yes. Well, I did talk to them, and they seem earnest and genuine. Like, they do want to apologize to the rest of the group, so I think that's best.
I did have a discussion with the others. Theodric, I think, would be more open to this, but Baldur and Belgo have expressly told me they do not really want to interact with the elves at this moment. I should probably let them know to stay a little bit away. I keep forgetting what the tavern owner's name is, not gonna lie, so just Feanor just keeps forgetting it. Dodie. I'll have to ask Dodie if perhaps some food can be made and brought outside. And if there's any manual labor or perhaps any hunting that can be done to help pay their way around here.
I think that's an astute solution there. However, Falneth turns to Theodric and says, Theodric, she put some stuff on my hand, and it stung like the dickens.
What was it? Fane was instantly interested. Like, what was it?
She said there was lemons in it. It was the.
He makes like a note of this, and Fane was like, yes. And you said it hurt a lot.
It feels better now. She put something on there that. Who did the trick? Oh boy, did the trick, but my goodness. And Valnith looks at his hand still.
Make a medicine check for me, Valnith.
Alright. That's a 15.
You notice that the wound itself has started to kind of glaze over in kind of like this milky white film. It's oozy. You don't really want to touch it, but it's doing something.
Do I recognize what it's doing?
This, you can tell, is in the process of healing. It's like the very beginning stages of healing, but it shouldn't be oozing like this.
Ugh. Oh, that's gross.
I think I'm going to dismiss myself really quick. Do you happen to know where Corinthiel's room is?
No. Actually, Jessamine, you helped Corinthiel. Where is Jessamine? Oh, just.
I'm in the kitchen getting cocoa and cookies.
Okay, well,
You'll have to wait till Jess comes back, but she was the one who let.
is it
Corinthiel
supposed to ooze like that?
Yeah, why haven't you put like sap or honey on it?
It's a little stinky.
It would have closed in the wound. But you're a very talented healer. Why is it the magic rocks? And he looks at the trick like the magic rock, right? Yeah, magic rocks.
I was
And
willing
lemon.
to give it a chance.
How
I was willing
did
to
that
give it a
go?
chance, but this just doesn't look right to me. I've never seen healing like this before.
Maybe
I'd
it's
like a second
Hobbit-
opinion.
Maybe it's Hobbit magic.
That's what I was thinking.
Can hobbits do
I
magic?
don't know. I've never seen anything.
Look, I did catch the tail
I
end
mean,
of a
it's healing.
conversation.
I can see.
I
I
hear-
can see it's healing.
mean-
He points out the.
I did
I
hear
mean,
the tail end of Corinthiel's and Jess's conversation earlier. Jessamine said that this was magic normal, like healing done normally only on hobbits. So maybe it only works on hobbits.
Well, maybe Jessamine knows what she's doing. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. At this point, I just want a second opinion. and my cocoa. I want that too.
Feanor is going to hop up and he's going to go talk to
Yeah.
Taverna, and he's going to like begin asking him about. He's going to like inform him that's like there's 6 other people that are outside. Is there any way that they may be able to contribute here? They don't really have a whole lot of money. In a way that we get them some food and like food for the night at the earliest. They're fine to camp outside, but they just want to be on like your property.
Did
And I'll
you
ask
say
them.
meals outside? In fact, it actually is a perfect weather for a picnic. Why don't we all go out and enjoy lunch together? And he says, oh, you said that they're hunters too, that they could bring in some nice game. In fact, we have to be very careful about the food that we hunt around here. In fact, these are Beorn's lands. But he did say anything within this wood is fair game. So if they want to feel free to hunt and pay their way, let's just say an elk per 3 would pay their way just enough. In fact, what... Agatha! Meatloaf's on the menu today! We're having a meatloaf picnic today! In fact, actually... And he begins clapping. Dindy! Oh, in the back, there's the picnic table that we have to set up. Take Fryer out there and go set it back up. We need room for... There's a lot of people in here today. At least 20 guests as part of this picnic.
My companions are a little bit solitary, so if they could also be a smaller fire off to the side that then they may approach from, I would appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
But I'm looking forward to a party.
A party, a feast, anything to take your mind off of the weariness of travel. That's what we here at the Easterly Inn specialize in. In fact, if you are here just for a night, you're not going to want to leave come the morning. You're going to be staying here a week. Ask Jessamine. It's been more than a month for her. I only jest, but not really.
Yes. I might, if once everything's set up outside, I might introduce you to perhaps one of the leaders of my friends, and perhaps they can haggle with you and determine what kind of game you're looking for specifically. They're quite skilled hunters.
Haggling and striking a bargain. I will say, the only kind of games that I'm good at is a good old game of chess by the fire. I only jest. In fact, I do need some hunting. We have plenty of boars around here. We have some venison that's out there. Yes. I think, hopefully they, like long stories. In fact, the other day, I swear, perhaps it was this morning. It was very early on, and perhaps this morning, I swear I saw some kind of white deer out and about. Probably is very tasty indeed.
Oh yeah, no, that's mine.
Oh, you call dibs on it, I see.
No, he's a friend. I would prefer if you didn't shoot him.
Well, I won't be the one shooting anyone. In fact, it will be your friends. If the friends of yours are friends of your deer, I assume.
Okay. I was glad to hear that Nim is doing okay.
Don't know what that means,
who normally does the hunting around here, if I might ask?
Hunting. Friar, typically, he lays down traps. We don't do a lot of active hunting. We do a lot of passive hunting. He goes out every morning at the crack of dawn, and he lays down all of the traps, mostly rabbit and pig. We have a small farm out back.
Okay, then. Yes. Well, thank you. If you let me know when everything's set up outside, I'll go talk to my companions and let them know.
We
And
shall
perhaps you'll have
set
some fresh game for tonight.
Fresh game? You hear that, everybody? A feast! A feast on our friend Feanor! Not on him, of course. A feast from him.
Yeah, potentially. Don't get your hopes up.
You hear that? Don't get your hopes up. He looks like he knows what he's doing.
I'm very humble.
Humble?
Yes.
Well, a chat here or there. You'll find that, well, we are quite humble hobbits here from the Shire. The most humble of places. In fact, some would even call this the most humble abodes of them all. Wouldn't you say, Jess? Jess, where'd you go? Agatha!
Actually, dude,
I'm in the kitchen helping Agatha make this meatloaf that needs 2 hours to prepare.
I thought you were making cookies.
I am also making cookies. They are in the oven.
That's what I pay you for.
You
Cookies.
don't pay
Thank
me.
goodness.
You pay me in room and board and food.
That's what she likes to say.
But yes. But you seem like a man who enjoys stories. Allow me to tell you the tale of how I bested a Bjorning in battle. And, begins to, fade out as he's talking about his battle at the Festival of the Five Armies.
I love it. The day progresses. You all get to know each other a little bit more. A lot of merriment is made. This is truly one of the more joyful experiences that you've been able to have in at least a month. And the fact that you are all together and enjoying this, especially with a new, with new friends, new dogs such as Shadrach, who is still very strange to you, but most importantly, a very friendly hobbit face by the name of Jessamine. You all get to know each other and spend a good amount of time chatting, and what can you say? Your personalities, for better or for worse, are growing on each other a little bit. Which brings us to that evening. Da-da. The campsite is all set up. Oh, and it looks amazing. There are all kinds of torches that have been set up along the backside of each bench. You have the 3 Beornings, the 3 Brelanders, your entire party, along with Caranthiel, sitting down at the table with all of the hobbits. And basically, Dodie, he stands up and he makes a grand gesture to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, from far and wide, all the way from out west of the Shire, all the way to the Lonely Mountain, this here is not a gathering of armies, but a gathering of friends. We here are establishing the Easterly Inn as the central part of trade within Wilderland, coming from east and west, and we are happy to be joined from east and west of everybody, and I'm happy to call each and every one of you my dear friends. You know, Bilbo Baggins, he made friends all over this world, and he begins telling his story about Bilbo Baggins, and meeting dwarves and Beornings and all that fun stuff. But without further ado, enough of my chit-chat after 40 minutes of chatting past. The food will get cold, and Agatha, she's staring daggers at me right now. Eat up, one and all. And actually, the elves did bring back a wild boar and what looks to be some venison as well. They were able to hunt down one deer in the process, which is impressive during the day considering their skills. But they do bring it out, and it was all cooked and prepared ahead of time, and it is on the table waiting for you guys to be able to feast.
All right, now does anyone have any dietary requirements?
I don't know what that means. Turns to the edge.
Oh,
What do you mean by that?
So we have gluten-free, sugar-free, we have meat-free over there. Obviously, you can't have any of board if you're meat-free, but I did do up your very nice zucchini slice, which is not dairy-free. It's important to know.
Mayonnaise.
No, the mayonnaise would not be like dairy-free either, actually.
What's a gluten?
Eat eggs?
Oh, of course I do. Why wouldn't I?
Some people don't like to eat eggs.
Oh, I see.
That's
Valneth writes that in his journal.
Shadrach
people don't like
comes
it.
around, and he has a tray full with a poached egg for everybody.
Do you eat eggs, Jessamine? Honest writing.
Chicken eggs, yes. Snake eggs, generally no. Fish eggs, yes.
Snake eggs are quite
Other, not in my experience. I just can't get the flavorings right. How do you?
How are you preparing them?
Um,
They're quite a soft egg, so you have to be quite like you can't fry them. Boiling them is perhaps a way that you may go about it, but you got to get them almost immediately after the snake has laid them.
see, that's the trouble part.
Look at Belgo, and his face is just like.
Belgo, you know I've eaten a snake before.
Oh yeah, snake itself is
Oh,
not
it's
too
quite-
bad.
Oh, it's so delicious.
No snakes.
Oh,
No snakes.
it's all.
The
all
trick
muscle.
is
You can just
to
eat the whole
beat it
thing.
to death, and
Hey,
then
whoa.
that really tenderizes the meat. and makes it-
Okay.
He looks at Belgo like that's animal cruelty. This is not animal cruelty free food. Peter's
That's one of the
field day.
options. Cruelty free.
Doc, can you pass
It
the
is
boar's
actually.
meat?
Yes.
By the way, are the elves sitting with us? The
No,
other
just
elves?
Corinthial.
Okay, where are the other elves at this point?
They have made campfire a little distance off. You can still see them. They're like they have like their own little table set up. Actually, they built a completely new table set up for about 8 people. So they are eating it theirs.
See, it's.
Why are go ahead,
See-
Just go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the reason that I know that snake tastes so good is because we were out hiking in the woods with one of my cousins once, and a snake actually fell from the trees onto him, and he was so startled by it, he grabbed it by its tail and started beating it around frantically, and we
You
were all
realize it was
hungry
probably
because,
already dead, right?
You know,
Like birds pick up snakes and drop them, like they attack them and then drop them from the sky to like tenderize the meat. You didn't have to do that to it.
you know what? I'm
Like, better
sure
safe than sorry,
we
but, like-
might not have. But yes, it is quite alarming. Not that it's ever happened to me, but I imagine it would be quite alarming to have a snake.
Which
dropping
cousin
you
was
from the
this, by
sky.
the way? What was this?
Honestly,
Was it
I
Bilbo?
Bilbo Baggins.
Oh,
Theodric has literally said his
Oh,
name
no.
just because he wants that response from Dodie.
you see if Fëanor like holds his chest and he's like, no. I can't.
you see the look on Jess's face, and she's right there
I'm
with
gonna
you,
go
buddy.
talk to some of the other
Theodric
elves.
has done this purely to get Dodie's reaction and to
I
start
might join you.
the whole rant. that he does.
Feanor's gonna like grab like his plate, put a bit of like extra meat and stuff on it, and he's gonna start like, walk over to the group of elves that just say she was coming. While
Yeah.
walking
I mean,
across
if
them,
I'm
be like,
welcome to.
"What was that stuff that you put on Valana's hand? You put lemon in it? Why?
Yes.
What did?
It's a really good antiseptic.
Well, you could just use horse's urine. You know that, right?
I didn't have any.
Look, that's a
The
valid
lemons
point,
were
but
fresh.
you know, like it.
I mean, I know you have ponies
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
stable,
no, without
but it felt
permission,
rude
yeah, no,
to
no,
just
yeah, I
sit there and
understand.
wait.
Yeah, it would be a little bit strange. You must tell me how to make it. I am absolutely going to use it the next time he gets out. Oh, the sweet sounds of his pain.
All right, I would
Thank
just
God.
ask that you don't tell Valinith I
Oh
told
yeah,
you
no,
the
definitely.
recipe.
This can be our secret.
Perfect. Yeah, so in my head, it's like a mixture of like aloe vera, lemon juice, and like some other random bits and pieces.
Yes.
I like it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, walking over to the other table, seeing like Nornir, so I introduced Jess. I'm like, I understand you went outside briefly to meet them, but here we'll do the pleasantries. Nornir, this is Jessamine. And
Jessamine
yes.
Sackville Baggins.
And I go around and I introduce her to like individually introduce her to like every person. I'm like, feel free to.
Yeah. If I get the opportunity to, I will like full on do the, hand
Oh yeah,
off
you
raise,
100% get the
so-
opportunity for everybody. Taladir, he's a little hesitant as
Yeah.
don't worry, Valinith fixed me right up, and he's doing everything that he can to like make you know that he is not injured.
No, that's good.
Good to see that you're looking good,
I just
Taladir.
say,
Like,
that is an absolute joy to hear, Taladir. I'm glad your soul is well.
Thank you.
yes, come on, pull up a chair. Feanor's just going to like have his plate on the table. He's going to be like standing next to it, like reaching down to eat. He's not going to take one of the seats. So how are we all finding it? I know it's not inside.
I stand on the seat.
I know we're not inside, but I thought that some hot food and some alcohol would help ease the aches of our journey.
Nornir,
Help
he
ease
says,
the aches of loss.
Yeah. Nornir, he says, it's been a while to have something to feast over. Yes, we've experienced quite a few losses, but to new beginnings.
To new beginnings. And like lifts up his cup.
They lift
Takes
up
a
their
drink.
cups together and you do your thing. Back at the other table, Valinith and Theodric, you over here, Dindy, the brother of Dodi, he's talking quietly to Baldur. You could tell he's more shy, not necessarily like a frail hobbit, but he's like, oh, you see, you don't have to worry about snakes around these parts. In fact, Shadrach, he makes sure that we take care of that. He is good at sniffing them out, and if you've ever seen Shadrach in action, he sneaks up on them from behind and makes sure that they do not come back. But Belko's like, oh, okay. And Dodi, he has basically taken the place of Jess, and he's made his way over and sat down, plopped himself right next to Theodric and Valinith. So, tell me, each one of you have come from all parts of the world, but what brings you together? What makes you friends? What makes the adventure strong in your hearts?
I would have to say it's probably time. Just shared experiences, shared battles won and lost. Just
The prophecy.
time and the bonds of friendship, I suppose. Would probably be the best way to describe it.
I understand. You know, my friendship with Bilbo Baggins, it started over a bottle of wine. I don't think I've told you such a story. But no, never mind that. We'll talk. We have plenty of time to talk about that later. What about you, Valinith?
Valinith thinks to himself, Yes, in my long years here on this Middle Earth, haven't adventured much, and in the early days, a lot of it was alone. But the company of others, the company of those that you trust, is what keeps me going. And this guy and elbows Theodric in the rib there. There's not much better than this guy out there. Not only is he noble, not only is he a gentleman, but he has a magnificent horse as well.
I do have a magnificent steed.
I've seen the way that beast of yours whinnies. I've seen those powerful legs. Too big for me to ride, but there was a took way back in the day that they said that he was able to ride a full-grown horse into battle.
It is quite impressive.
Probably
You
not
don't
your big of a
say.
horse.
No, I would doubt that, but yes.
He scooches over a little closer, very obviously, next to you, Theodric. So, and you could tell that he's like trying to wrestle over like how to bring something up. You see, the reason I ask, we don't find a lot of adventuring companies together. Not one that has the bonds of Thorin's company, such as yourself, but I will say, it has been wonderful having Jess here. And she's a Baggins after all. But I can tell that deep down she longs for something. I long for the road, but I also long for family and establishment. She came all the way out here, perhaps to be like her cousin. I find no better way to be able to travel, or no better intentions. But you see, being here the past month, it's made me realize I can't let a blossoming young flower like her sit in dry soil. She must go out on fertile soil, on tilled land, if you understand what I am saying.
I do, and in fact, I would like to learn more about her healing ways, indeed. And you know, it is good to have a good cook among the party. What do you think, Theodric?
I mean, if she's willing, the more the merrier.
Merry
I'm not quite-
indeed. Merry indeed. In
I'm
fact,
not quite sure where we're going or where we're heading, but
well, you said you were making way towards Woodman Town, or not Woodman Town, Woodland Hall. Is that correct?
I do believe so.
Yes, I think
This
it
is
would do
correct.
her good to get away from her people, us hobbits. In fact, she is a Baggins after all. Adventures in her blood. Ha ha ha.
Well, we could use another healer. We could use another cook. She seems kind enough. I have no objections to this, as long as she's okay with it, as Theodric said.
Now this is
Yeah.
just between us. And he winks. Clearly it's not just between, like, his voice just carries. Not enough for Jess to be able to overhear this far off on the other campsite, but, like, everyone at the table is just like, oh, geez, like, here he goes again. But he says, this is just between us, you hear me? I think it would mean the world to her to extend an invitation into your merry company.
Yes, well, we would be delighted. That is, if she's of course willing, and I'm sure she'll fit in splendidly.
Is she travel sturdy? Is she able to keep up with the pace? You see Feanor over there. He is something. And I don't know if Jess will be able to keep up with that.
Just ask Dindy. She made her way all the way from the Shire, way far out west, all the way to the Easterly Inn in one piece. If anything, actually, Dindy said that she's actually got a fair bit of skill with the blade. Something, of course, she probably learned from Bilbo Baggins. Her cousin. First removed. Cousin nonetheless, family blood,
you
family
don't-
related.
You don't say. Wow, that seems like it is just or just the coincidence.
Oh, that's a good one.
I thought so.
Puns aside, if she's capable of looking after herself, then naturally, as long as she can pull her own weight, we're more than happy to have her with us.
I will find the one thing that Thorin's company learned, having a hobbit with you, they're good at burglaring. And no, yes, she might be a good grocer, but she is also, if she's just like Bilbo, a burglar. She hasn't stolen anything from us, of course. That's just rumors. That's well, she is a Baggins after all.
Burglaring. Sounds dishonest to me, but potentially helpful.
Ah, but they are good at sneaking into small spaces. If it weren't for the likes of Bilbo Baggins, the dwarves and Thorin's company never would have made it inside of Smaug's lair, and the Arkenstone would never have been uncovered.
Throughout all of this, Theodric is just kind of like hiding a smile behind his ale and just letting Dodie and Valineth hash all of this out.
And Valineth is little by little growing more curious about such a prospect. And he turns to Theodric and he says, "You know, with all this talk of hobbits we've been having, especially through the forest, it's quite ironic that we have potentially one part of our party now."
Yes, well, some fresh blood will probably do us some good. It's been a rough couple of weeks. A new outlook on everything
At
will
the
be
very
good for us.
least, at the very least, she can be our interrogator. I think she's gonna be pretty good at that. She has her ways to make a grown man cry, in my experience.
She is a funny one at that. I've shed a tear or two over her jokes, whether I understood them or not. Anyways,
yes, Odie, I agree.
no need to bother you during your feasting time. Just some food for thought. Oh, speaking of food, Agatha! The desserts! The pies! Let's hopefully they're not burning. And immediately you see Shadrach run off towards the direction of the inn, emerging no sooner than 5 minutes later with an entire tray of pies as he slowly makes his way on 2 legs back to the table.
Okay, I gotta know, what's the rest of the elves' reaction to seeing Shadrach?
Oh, I'm gonna have them make perception checks to determine.
Yeah, don't mind the magic dog.
With a natural 20,
You know what? Oh my.
they look out and they see this dog. I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. Isn't that how all dogs act?
Whoa.
What?
Man, have you seen many dogs walking around on hind legs?
I've not seen many dogs in my life before.
You know the dog that we had, the dog Rufus.
Yes, the
Yeah,
mangy
that's pretty
one.
much that's pretty much a normal dog, but more dirty.
Well, that
The ones
dog's
walking around on
amazing.
hind legs. Yeah. Oh yeah. The Shadrach. Yeah. He's awesome.
Is this hobbit training?
Well-
In fact, us elves, we're very good at teaching animals to do things. Not so much tricks, more talking to them and garnering information about the woods and what's ailing the
Oh.
woods.
We think it might be magic, but we're not really sure.
Something to look into. But I just figured the first time out of the woods in quite a long time, and, well, nothing really surprises us. Everything is new.
That's fair.
In fact, this is the first time that I have seen a hobbit. It's a first. Many firsts for us today.
You
do you think
carry
of the
it
food?
with grace.
do you think of the food and the ale?
Well, we hunted the food, but it was prepared. That literally Nornir just chef's kiss. And you can see that as he does so, a little bit of his mask begins to fall, and for the first time ever, you see the silhouette of his face as he tries a big bite of pork. And then quickly he puts it back up. Now this. Normally I'm not accustomed to domesticated meats, but this. You must teach us the recipe. Can you cook this over a campfire?
It is best cooked over a campfire. Takes some hours to prepare depending on the size of the beast, though. What this is actually wild boar, which has a rather different taste to domesticated pig.
Just they lived in the woods. They're used to Mirkwood wars. They're made of sterner stuff. So please forgive the mistake. Actually,
but clearly this is special boar.
No.
Continue.
No. I apologize for the miscommunication, but I was merely trying to educate. I wasn't offended. As far as it being special, I know it is considered a delicacy in some places, and it is hard to get just on our own when we're not. Most of the people here aren't hunters at all. I think you'll find the preparation comes in the temperature of the fire and the spices and rubs we use for such meats.
Taladir, are you taking notes? Taladir is like, am I supposed to be?
Actually, while eating food, he's like, Fainal's like, actually, there's a technique that I was told about by the dwarves. They even did it for me once. You dig a hole in the ground, fill it with coals, put the whole boar in it, and then you refill it back up. And then you come back like 2 days later, and it's perfectly cooked. It's really slow.
I have done that with fish many a time.
It's quite interesting.
Well, not up to the extent
a lot of
2
coals,
days,
and you put
for sure.
green leaves on it because it stops it from burning. Like, you know, it just smokes up a lot. You get some really good smoked meats out of it. Dwarves, right? Putting food in the ground to make it better.
I didn't think about it like that. But, hobbits, you do the same. Do you live in the ground as well?
Yes, I suppose we do. We live in holes in the ground.
Like a well?
Like a... You know what? Why don't I just show you? And she'll actually get up and she'll like grab your hand and lead you away. Kyle, you did say that I was given like my own little hobbit hole.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you can see on the
like,
picture, like there's hobbit holes that are like down and around, built into kind of like the side. So yeah, you have your own small little hobbit hole, kind of like a small apartment compared to like Bag End, but
yeah, and you'll see that hers has actually like flowers and stuff like decorated around the railing.
Oh, this is quite nice.
She'll like lead you in. Yes, you see, it's people say hole and they get confused.
I think very vertically. That's what I was thinking.
Either that, or they think more along the lines of the caverns and caves that orcs and goblins occupy. But no, it's comfortable. Oh, mind your head.
Oh, wait, thank you.
It's quite cozy.
All of the elves are led inside this tiny
It is
hobbit
designed that way. Would they all fit?
Yeah, they probably would all fit. They're pretty slender. They're not large, and they're tall.
At the very,
in stature, but not large.
Yeah. At the very least, they're all like leaning in through the door to have a look.
Yeah.
If not walking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is interesting. Why do you live
Um.
in holes in the ground? Is it something to do with the temperature?
Um. Do you want? Do you want the short answer or
Oh, I've got
the long
time.
answer? Oh. Well, much of our culture has been lost just due to time and a lack of writing things down. Um, we don't have much interaction with the outside lands. You have the Shire, which is where I'm from, which is where a large amount of hobbits are located. And then you have Bree, where hobbits have gone off and made homes and families with the
I actually did have a friend
humans there.
of the Grinfold family.
Hmm. I wouldn't know them, would I?
No, you probably wouldn't.
No, yeah, I don't think so. I haven't had the pleasure of.
I haven't had a chance to go there myself, so
Is that
it sounds like an interesting land.
well? I myself have only been there once. I'm just passing through on the way here. I met Dindy there, and he agreed to take me east to here. So yes, hobbits are quite rare to see. Even unless you're invited by a hobbit, you're not likely to see many. We have a tendency to avoid the big folk, as you will.
Do the hobbits have many warriors? Is there many
no
fighting
doubt.
techniques or skills that they possess?
Not these days. We are largely peaceful
Yes.
people, but we tend to pick up things quite quickly. I was given a few lessons on the way over here, and apparently
Interesting.
okay.
We'll have to have a spar at some point.
That sounds incredibly
What fun.
dangerous. She thinks that one's
I've only
over.
been hurt a little bit by my companions. It's been fun. But no, let's go back to the party. We've been away a little.
All right,
Listen,
yes.
thank you very much.
You see Nornir.
For showing us your home.
He says, "Yes, thanks indeed. There's a part of it that does remind me of my old home. Back in Thranduil's halls, actually, we lived underground as well, in a series of caves, and it makes me nostalgic. So thank you for showing."
Earlier when Nornir's mask fell down, did I recognize him at all? Because I'd had some like vibes that maybe I knew him.
I'm going to say make an investigations check.
Because it's just something that
I
and Feanor's been thinking. Just a 5.
5, probably not.
But it was interesting getting to see his guard down a little bit, enough to see his face at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say in reply to that, I must say that I have always heard quite legendary things of the halls of elves, even though I have not been to see one personally. So you comparing our food and our lodgings is quite the compliment.
Well, I will say, if there's any comfort to be had in my words, know that your customs bring just the same amount, if not more, comfort to our hearts. And with that, you can return.
Yusia take on board this information, but she doesn't say anything.
I
in
head back to
reply.
the party. I'm gonna go like chill with Theodric and Arnis now.
And eventually, you all make your way back to the table as the pies are being served. Now, everybody sit down, enjoy some dessert. These are famous peach cobblers. There are actually peaches that are grown all along the Anduin. Beorn himself said that gave us some land to be able to grow them. In fact, actually, out back, there's a nice stream. We are able to lay down some good pastures and good orchards to grow some wonderful peach trees. Enjoy.
Might have to go have a swim in that. Yeah, that sounds like a very nice early morning activity.
Maybe we should keep Baldur
Theodric.
away.
Theodric, do you wanna, yeah, yes, Valnus. Don't let him drink any of the water. Theodric, what do you say? Get up at 5 a.m., go for a brisk morning swim?
I mean,
Good way
I
to start the
could
day.
probably use the bath, yes.
Yep. A man's bath. Cold river.
Yes, it's been... When was the last time we saw running water that we didn't have to be wary of?
Never.
Wow.
No, I'm joking.
It's been, what, 2-3 months at this point.
Yep.
It'll be nice.
But yeah, it'll be good. Go for a nice early swim. Oh, pie. How delicious is this pie?
How's Caranthiel doing?
That is more important, I suppose.
The pie is delicious. The pie is super duper good, very spiced. Caranthiel, she's eaten very properly. You could tell that their time in the woods has not taken away from her manners, but she is just not doing a lot of talking, but just sitting and observing. She's actually squished between the Brelanders and Baldur, kind of on the opposite side of the table from all of you. And she's just kind of listening around. She'll speak when spoken to, but you can tell there's a small smile on her face, and she's enjoying. I'm going to have Jess, you make an insight check for me.
Oh, perfect. I'm so good at those.
I don't know if that's a lie or not.
14. No, 13.
13. All right. And so
That's right. You don't know if it's a lie or not.
With that, you look at her and you can tell that there's a sense of calm to her, but there's also a small sense of apprehension. You can tell that she keeps like looking at the group, actually the company, just in general, like on the opposite side of the table, and she kind of keeps looking up at them. Will glance at Valinith for a little bit and hold a heavy stares and kind of glances at Feanor, but then she just goes back and like she's listening to what's all around her, and if she's being addressed, she answers and she brings herself back in. But you can tell she's happy. There's kind of like this small sense of relief within her.
Yeah, Valinith poses the question to her. So Caranthiel, have you ever been west of the Misty Mountains?
No, I've never truly left. I've truly never been west of the Anduin. In fact, I spent most of my life within Mirkwood and a decent amount in the Dalelands, but other than that, no. I've only seen the Misty Mountains from the opposite side of the river.
Well, as you can see, many wonderful cultures lie on the other side of those. I think
Indeed.
you may enjoy visiting there one of these days.
She
In
looks.
fact,
Yes, she looks.
my hometown. Yeah. My hometown of Rivendell. I learned a lot there, and actually one of the best healers I know, Lord Elrond. Maybe you've heard of him. I know you have a deep desire to help people and to save people. I don't think there's anyone in this Middle-earth who you could learn from better than that of Lord Elrond.
I've heard good things.
And that's
Amazing
proposes
things.
that.
problem is finding my way there without getting lost. I've only heard rumors and legends of Imladris, the last homely house of the elves.
Well, come take a look at this. And he actually like stands up and like kind of does his best to try to squeeze between her. And he opens up like all of his notebook and shows like all of the maps and whatnot in order to get there, like the road and the path. I know Feanor posed the question of you and the rest of the wayward elves potentially going to Rivendell. It is a place secluded from society. It's a place of respite. If anyone's looking for you, they're not going to find you if you're in Rivendell. And they're very, very strict about who they let in as well. But I believe at the very least you have a lot that you can learn there. And at the very least the rest of the party over there has a lot they can learn as well. Maybe not in the ways of healing, but maybe in the ways of living on this fair place we call Middle-earth. At the very least, as a place of refuge and respite, as Feanor had mentioned. And Valineth rips out a page of his notebook and writes a letter saying like, to Lord Elrond and those of Imladris, these are friends of Valineth, son of Morbeth. They are welcome in my house for as long as they wish to stay. As long as they devote themselves to learning the ways of the high elves of Rivendell. And boom, signed, Valineth, son of Morbeth. And hands that to her.
She takes it and looks like kind of like aghast in disbelief and says, "Are you really sure about this? This is more than we could have ever deserved or even ever asked for."
Well, I mean, I trust my friend Feanor. And obviously, it's staking my reputation on it, so... Of course I'm sure, but please don't besmirch the name of Valineth, son of Morbeth, please.
No. I wouldn't have dreamed of it. Of course. And she takes a look at it and reads it over again. You've got really good handwriting. It's almost difficult to read.
Well, I am a scholar, after all.
If your people can read it, and if this will give us safe passage, she rolls it up. Thank you. And she leans over and actually gives you a kiss on the cheek.
Oh, Valineth's face turns bright red. It's, oh my. Why? What a lovely gesture of kindness. And turns to Feanor.
Is in the middle of arm wrestling, Theodric.
And turns back to Caranthiel. And turns back to Feanor.
I'm like, and Theodric slams his arm down, and he's like, it's the drink, I bet. Why have you got such a big grin on your face?
Yeah.
You okay? You look ill.
I just think you two kids have a lot to catch up on, is all. Maybe at a later date. Maybe not today, but...
Well, to friends.
As you begin kind of wrapping things up, Dindy actually makes his way over and says, "Oh, did you say you're making way to Rivendell? In fact, well, in 3 days from now, I'm leading an expedition back all the way to the Shire in order to, well, get at least what we need for the rest of the year, to come back here to the Easterly Inn to restock our supplies. If you would like to join us, you and your company, the more the merrier. We would be happy to be able to have you, and in fact, we could show you safe paths across the Anduin and across the Misty Mountains to Imladris."
There's a kind offer, but first we must. Was she addressing Caranthiel or the group?
Yeah, he was addressing Caranthiel. specifically.
Okay, yep.
And she says, "So soon. But I think we'll take you up on your offer. 3 days from now. To new beginnings." And she holds her glass up to everybody. To new beginnings.
To new beginnings.
Huzzah!
And
New
that
beginnings.
is where we're going to end our session for tonight.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
That's good.
Very cool. I like that.
Good.
Quickly, thank you all for those of you who joined us and who stuck around and watched for this wonderful fun, very entertaining for me adventure. But let's go ahead and jump to see just quick thoughts. Again, try to keep it 3 minutes or less of everybody's thoughts about today's session. We'll go in reverse order, starting with Feanor.
I really liked all of it in general. So my stomach still hurts a little bit from laughing. It's particularly hard at some points.
Oh man.
I do like the lore heavy episodes. Because we're building up stuff again. Like very quickly we've been able to establish kind of like at the very least a familiarity of a kind of friendship with Jessamine, even though we haven't known her very long. Being able to find out and establish what's going to happen to these elves is really interesting as well. It's not something I ever considered happening before, like I mentioned it at the end of the other session. And I doubt that that's what was intended when they wrote Age of Middle Earth. So it's like, I don't know, it's very fun. I've been liking. Oh god, there was so much going on in my brain. I don't know. It's just been very entertaining to have Feanor back with everyone again and have him interacting with them again, and not just being out on his own, trying to survive, trying to think of every way he can to avoid danger while still getting where he needs to get in time. But he's super happy that things are playing out the way that they are.
Yeah. Well, and think about it, like all of your actions, all the things that you do. So Middle Earth is a world that, like, Tolkien wrote a story, there's a linear story, but the way that Adventures in Middle Earth especially is written is they did a very good job of giving players the ability to affect stuff and affect change within the world. So, like, yeah, maybe there weren't originally a host of Mirkwood elves that made their way over to Rivendell, but in this case, there are. And, like, you can actually affect and have agency within the world and the events that actually come into the world via role-playing, which is really good. You guys are your own hero adventuring party, so...
Like suggesting totality, it's like, if you truly desire to be a warrior, here's a warrior king that I've been able to get along with and has similar goals and stuff of everything. You could go there, and that also plays into what I said to King Bard, where it's, I want to go find people who can help combat the darkness. And more or less he's going to be like, Feanor's going to be sending them to like Dale or other sanctuaries that we make, and in a way to like bolster those places and to make them stronger. In the end, ultimately trying to achieve his goal of defeating the shadow in the long run.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. That's great. Yeah, it was a fun session to see Feanor catch up with the group again, but also, yeah, just kind of dictate like what happens to the lives of those that started off as enemies and slowly now have become, if not enemies, at least friends in parting. How that goes. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's excellent.
All right, Jess, tell me, what are your thoughts about today's session?
I really enjoyed it. I really liked how there were multiple points in the session where everyone was just laughing and nothing was getting done.
Joy was getting done.
I was laughing at Kyle. I'll admit, I was laughing at how hard Kyle was laughing half the time more than what was actually said.
It still counts. It
yeah,
still counts.
It's still awesome.
Yeah, I think this was a much needed, like, sort of break and opportunity to reset. So like getting back in the swing of things, like Feanor and Theodoric, like having a josh around about how weird this dog is. Like that's pretty much classic. We love that. I think it's very realistic that Beldor and Belgo wouldn't trust the other elves straight away. I think that's fair enough, honestly.
100%.
Yeah, like, sure, okay, you only did those things because you were like under the like leadership of someone who who was commanding you to do these things, but at the end of the day, you still did those things. So, and ultimately, it is not on the offender to determine how the offended reacts. Like, they are not entitled to any forgiveness, and I think that they know that, which is really cool to see. Very refreshing change of pace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the only note about tonight I will say is that I'm disappointed that Australia lost the semi-finals to the World Cup.
No.
Totally ruined the vibe.
We don't get a public holiday anymore.
I was gonna say tonight the stakes weren't so high, which was nice, but apparently in Australia the stakes were real high.
They were so high.
Oh man.
But hey, we beat the US, so
Who knows? Maybe we'll get a day of mourning, just a day off to mourn.
Oh.
You know what? I'm still gonna be cheering for England in the finals because we don't like Spain at the moment.
Well, there you go.
That's okay. That's pretty much all my thoughts, I think.
Go Matildas.
Theodric,
All right.
tell me, my friend,
Okay.
how was your thoughts on tonight's session?
I love tonight's session. Like Nick and Leah both said, it was a very much needed jovial break from what has been a very dark arc of our story. I definitely loved, like we all said, like the dog, like what is with the dog, and the whole Valineth's boo boo needing to be treated. Also, I just want to say you have created the most frustrating character in my mind, Leah. Like,
I don't know whether to be
no,
proud of that or to apologize
a bit of
profusely.
both, because I love her.
No.
But like, I literally I cannot get along with those kind of people in real life. The whole like the rock healing and the those kind, they frustrate the shit out of me, right? Like more than anything else, because I'm like personally I am a man of science, and I'm like,
Oh, you're like
oh,
Valineth. I like it.
yeah, essentially I'm like, has this been peer reviewed? Yes, okay, that's real medicine. And if it's a pseudo science, pseudo means not real. Like, let's be honest. Like,
Where are your peer-reviewed papers? Give me that.
Right?
I like how it's like you have
In
to
my
go, I have to go
defense-
get a second
PhD with
opinion
this?
from Granthiel.
In my defense, okay, I asked Kyle and he said yes.
I know,
100%.
and it makes a lot of sense to
It's
me
fun.
when your stat block showed up and you have high charisma and dexterity, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so you are literally using your charisma to deceive us into thinking your magic works,
Which is
Um,
awesome.
Allegedly.
which is par for the course for crystal people.
Look, she hasn't started an multi-level marketing scheme.
yeah.
So, like,
no.
Yeah.
it's going to become Crystal multi-level marketing.
Valineth and Caranthiel are their first patsies by the looks of it. Like,
Oh god.
Yeah,
But no,
I will
tonight's been
say,
great.
because I feel the need to defend Jess at this moment, that, like, she has very genuine intentions.
yeah. But no, it's been good. Tonight was a good session.
My cheeks hurt so
Also, I couldn't. There were times that I just started laughing, not because anything incredible was happening, but because I don't know if you noticed, but a few times Dain forgot to put his hand away, so we'd just sit there for 5 minutes with his hand pointed at the camera.
Oh, that was intentional. That wasn't forgetting.
I
He
believe
forgot to
that,
put
yeah.
his hand away, like holstering it.
And it was enough to always send me into another laughing fit, which would cause a coughing fit.
Well, theoretically, that entire time he was supposed to have it elevate like this. So
With the rock.
Uh,
But no, oh,
I imagine, like between morning tea and like the evening feast, you got Caranthiel to have a look at it. So.
what?
Well,
Maybe.
All
Who
I'm
knows?
saying is that Feanor wants that recipe for purely nefarious reasons.
Oh, Lord.
For whenever like Valineth gets hurt, he's gonna be like, "Don't worry, I have a salve that'll help it," and he's gonna like rub it on.
And then it's
Oh,
familiar, and all of a
flashbacks
sudden
to
his is
war.
just flashbacks and Carmina Bruna's playing.
Yeah.
But no, tonight was great. Like, it was a very good session. I'm very pleased with how it turned out.
Question: Dodie still hasn't gotten on your nerves yet? Is he getting there?
No,
No,
I'm
Dodie.
I'm weaponizing Dodie and his walk.
Of course he would.
I'm
If
I'm
anything,
yeah.
I think Dodie completely added to the comedic value of
Oh,
this
yeah.
Oh,
episode.
I'm-
Feanor's kind of like, you're a lot, but he's not like you're a bad person. He's like, I
Yeah.
don't have the energy to talk to you like this right now.
Yeah. Like
And
that's
Daedric
sort
is
of
going
Jess's
to
opinion
abuse
as
that
well.
to just be like Bilbo Baggins and then just start.
Yeah, like
start it.
every time
Yeah,
he says that, you get a
exactly.
little and an eye roll from Jess.
but Theodric doesn't. Theodric's just like yes.
In sync, Jess and Feanor like, I roll. Like,
Uh,
oh, is that how
finally.
they're gonna bond?
Yeah. the sheer pain. Valineth, your thoughts?
yeah, I mean, all of that everyone mentioned, I think I've same feelings for me. But I think one thing that's new that was added, that I do want to add is the fact that even though this was a very good and like very comedic session, I think it was also like a session where a lot of healing happened. I mean,
Figuratively
fake healing
and
aside,
literally,
yeah.
Lemon healing.
Emotional.
But like, yeah, emotional healing. Obviously, like Belgo was able to meet Feanor again and hopefully get his hopes up a bit. Obviously, there's healing that needs to be done between Theodric, Bel, or with Theodric, Belgo, and Baldur with the elves. I hope there's an opportunity for that to happen in the future. But even for the elves themselves, you know, like they're also going through a journey on their own. Like their leader died, and they're wayward elves. There truly are wayward elves right now, and they don't really have a place to be. And I think Corinthial is a really good leader for them right now in this specific moment, in particularly because I think the others are very much followers, if that makes sense. None of them seem to be a leader of any sorts, whereas Corinthial
With the
is kind
exception of Nornir.
forcing. But he's
Yeah.
good at like leading people technically, but like not
Technically
as an
leading.
actual leader.
He was the head scout, like the head of the scouts
Sure.
of the
Mhm.
huge company.
True. But from
Not
what we
one
did
of the
see,
few.
exactly.
Yes.
But what we did see is he's also very lost in his own personal life as well. You know.
See, they
And
just need a
so-
leader like Feanor to come in and become their permanent leader. Like,
Yeah, actually, I think Feanor did a fantastic job leading.
It was good.
you guys
And-
should appreciate him more. Sorry.
Next
go
session,
back.
I don't
that's how
have
it
to
starts.
appreciate
You guys
anything.
need
I'm
to
not officially part of the
appreciate me
party
more.
yet.
Become a drama queen.
But yeah, also just in general, like a really experiencing like a bunch of different cultures. I think that was also a big part of the healing, like the Easterly in like you had humans, you had elves, you had hobbits, you had Beornings, you had dogs that walked around on two legs. You had all kinds of different cultures interacting and mingling. And especially for these elves, I think that like especially the party at the end really was a healing moment for them. Hopefully, at least the starting of some healing, even if it's not accepted right now. And
Yeah.
hopefully they can move on with their lives. But ultimately, like it was a great session. There was a lot of really good facets. I know it wasn't like the most action packed, but it was very fun. And
Mhm.
hopefully those in the audience really enjoyed it too. So
It was like a beach episode.
Yeah. The
Not
hot
quite.
springs episode
Yeah.
of every anime.
Honestly, okay, I would just like to take a moment to appreciate the huzzah, because it has been the first huzzah since I don't
been
even
a while.
know how long.
it's been a while.
Huzzah, indeed.
Huzzah indeed.
To new
Huzzah.
beginnings, everybody. Each and every one of us. The
There you
end of an
go.
adventure and the beginning of another. Very exciting. I mean, and for me personally, I'm really excited to see like going from here, because this is technically speaking like the end of the first adventure of you guys as a party. There's been some kind of side stuff. There's been kind of like some tutorial build up, all of that. But now this is like it. Like this is adventure 1 basically over with. Now adventure 2, as the stakes start getting higher and higher and higher.
Does that mean we level up? Did we level up this
Yeah, that's what
session,
I was
guys?
gonna say.
Soon.
I feel like that's level up worthy.
Soon. When you guys hit the end of your adventure,
can't
so when you hit the end
justify
of the journey
leveling up
in
all of
Woodman
us.
Town, actually, I will say this: between now and next session, feel free to level up your characters. So go into your D&D Beyond.
Multi-attack!
Does that include
I
me?
get multi-attack!
Yeah, that includes you too,
Guys!
Jess. Yep, absolutely.
Wow, I
Um,
have done nothing.
It's okay. It's okay. That's what's
You
great
have
about
made
progression
party
rewards.
members.
Yeah, you're a party member.
Okay.
Just
Um,
by being in
would you like
proximity
that?
to us, you leveled up. So
You healed Valneth's hand. That's what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're,
I know.
No,
it's oozing.
Corinthial did.
pussy.
Let's face it.
Oh,
But,
it's hilarious.
No, it's amazing to be able to have these, because I think the way that Adventures in Middle Earth is run, and like this idea of like you have these very intense adventures where it's just like you throw everything into it, and it's like the survival is like supposed to be like the front of your mind. It's just like, how am I going to survive? Where now it's just like, this is your time to celebrate. This is truly like it's very Tolkien-esque, actually. Like you have like those moments where like they leave the Shire and they're being hunted by the Ringwraiths, the hobbits, and then at the end of their adventure they wake up in Rivendell and they have some time to be able to celebrate. They form the Fellowship, they go off, and then they do all of their small little things, and there are moments of respite between all of their adventures, and it's in those small moments that you grow. A lot of growth happened, a lot of merriment is made, and then bonds are forged. And so that's kind of the whole point of like these little Fellowship phase episodes, is to do that, and hopefully everybody feels that and everybody enjoys it, because I have a ball doing it all with you. It's truly incredible. You guys are an amazing group. But anything else, Dain, before we do head out?
Yeah, so just to quickly remind everyone, our schedule for streaming is much bigger and much more vast than it has been in previous years, because this is now officially my full-time job. Those of you who missed it, we are starting to upload YouTube Shorts, so I will be going through all of our videos, any funny moments, any good moments, any heartfelt moments, not just Adventures in Middle Earth, but any of our streams. And we're going to be uploading a bunch of shorts on YouTube as well. I know those do a lot better these days with the young kids, so
With the kids.
makes me sound old. With the kids. No,
Just
but
turned
seriously, though,
29
like-
this weekend, and now I'm like,
I know,
Yes.
we're old farts.
Oh,
now.
happy birthday, Kyle, too.
Thanks.
I already
But-
told Dane. But...
Yeah.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it. But yeah, no, I mean, just in general, we're gonna be working on a lot of like other different facets other than just the streaming aspect, but that includes like clips of Adventures in Middle Earth and of our other streams as well. But as far as like the weekly schedule goes, right now what we have it pinned down to, again, I'm gonna be talking in Mountain Standard Time because that's where I live, so I apologize. But we have 9 streams. Up to 9 streams every single week, which is crazy if you think about it. So we got Kyle's stream on Monday morning. Just keep in mind time zones. Anyways, Kyle's stream, and then I do stream on Mondays American time, Wednesdays American time. So I'll be streaming in like 12 hours or so, like soon-ish. No, less than that. I'll be streaming soon for some Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and then Thursdays as well. And then I also have a Saturday stream, which for my so I have 4 different streams I'm doing. Kyle has 2 streams that he does. We also have Adventures in Middle Earth, and then we also do every second and fourth weekend of every month Everlast Adventures, which is our original tabletop RPG that we do. So again, catch up on all of those. Those all get uploaded to YouTube. So if you want to catch up on the adventures so far, feel free to do so. That includes AME, Adventures in Middle Earth. So feel free to do that. We have a wonderful sponsor, Dai Snacky. I just purchased one of their omakase, but not omakase boxes, omatsuri boxes, which is their seasonal box they have right now, their festival box, because I miss Japan festival food. But they are currently have that. I think it's limited. When I went onto their website, it's like we only have so amount of orders left. So if you're thinking about getting an omatsuri box, they don't have many left. So feel free to head over that way. They're awesome, free international shipping. And again, it's a Japanese small company that does luxury sweets and treats. So they're pretty cool. Go check out Dai Snacky. It supports small family business, and make sure to mention that Fancy Forge sent you. It helps us out. And I think that's it. Yeah, come join me a little bit later today for some Tears of the Kingdom. It should be a good time.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm like these days I'm really enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. Like today's stream was really fun for me. So
oh yeah, you
for
streamed
those
too today.
yeah, for those who can join for those streams, like I know playing it's super fun, but also sitting down and watching it is like super fun too. So make sure to check those out. Yeah, it's good. Dain streams are very entertaining to watch too. So. But yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. This is Kyle and the crew from Fantasy Forge Studios. And until we meet again next week for some more AME at 7 p.m. JST, may the road go ever onward and onward. Bye, guys.